everybody in the audience, now listen to me carefully, is being given a special package, and I don't want you to open it. Do not open it. Cameras are on you, so do not open until I tell you. All right, open your boxes. Open your boxes. 1, 2, 3. Do not open until I tell you. All right, open your boxes.
I see.
HARPY Women's International Day, fellow earthling human beings, kafir, goy, gaijin, and for this evening, fellow co-host. Where are you? Oh, there you are. How are you doing today, Dame?
I'm great. I didn't sleep much, but I'll survive.
Over 12 hours, plus several hours on top of that, and now probably 2 to 3 hours or more of this. So I'm going to be a little, well, unfiltered, a little slap happy. In addition to talking about something that I'm apparently really passionate about, more than I was expecting. In fact, if anybody's watched any of my previous live streams, you know I'm doing at least a dozen or two, if not more, slides. Today I only managed 5. 5 slides before I had to put it back up. Okay, so, but we're still going to cover quite a bit, so buckle up, buckle up.
I'm sure.
All right, so yeah,
and don't be afraid to go on tangents because we got time.
Well, you got time. Like I said, I'm going on a very long day already, so but we'll see. I mean, I got my second cup of coffee. I should be okay for a while. But yeah, I mean, where do I begin? So I've got a presentation. Daniel's put together a presentation. I haven't got a chance to look at it, but it's quite a lot. So we'll see how much we get. In between, I've got some slides and videos and things that I want to share with you guys too. All current events, or most of all current events. But basically, yeah, the topic of today. Let me put you on mute there, Daniel, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, the topic for today is basically, yeah, Women's International Day or National Women's Day. I intentionally say it backwards on purpose. And thanks to Daniel, honestly, I completely forgot, or not. Yeah, I forgot. I don't really care about this day, to be honest with you. But it just so happens that I wanted to do a series or one live stream at least on Oprah Winfrey, coming off the back of Whoopi Goldberg. And my series on Eddie Murphy and the Black History Month stuff and all that. So this came at a good time. It's perfect timing, let's say. And if anything screams International Women's Day, it's Oprah Winfrey. No pun intended. She's like to Women's International Day what Aisha is to Muhammad. I mean, she's the embodiment of what's wrong with this day. So let's get into it without further ado. Okay. So here's my presentation. Weird. So this is in a couple of weeks. We've got Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and this actress has been in the center of some controversy because of her commentary. Just so you guys know, to put in perspective, what do all little girls worldwide, believe it or not, want to be? Do they not all want to be a princess? So this one comes along, and she just completely rips into Disney, which I'm not heartbroken over, but completely rips into the idea of being a princess and being rescued by a prince. And we'll show you what I mean in case you've missed that. We've got the clip from that as well. So I'm going to conclude my presentation, my 5-slide presentation with that, but open up with Oprah Winfrey and a little background on her for those who are not familiar. And of course, as we mentioned before, with I did a little separate video on the the Captain New World Order, the live stream, and all that. We talked about Betty Ross, the son of General Ross or Secretary of State Ross or President Ross in that movie. And in the comics, she plays a harpy, basically a mythological character who's supposed to be like a sort of let's say a djinn of sorts, or a Hell's Angel, where they come in and kidnap people and bring them to hell and guard hell and that kind of thing. So she's in the comics, I believe in the 70s comic, she was a green harpy, like the Green Hulk, but then in the 21st century, she was the red harpy, which we all, the symbolism there, communism or paganism, or what have you. So yeah, I'm kind of babbling here. Let's get into the first slide here. And if I miss any comments or anything, please do let me know, because I'm working with one monitor here. So Oprah Winfrey, in case you missed it. All right. So according to Forbes, her net worth is over $3 billion. Okay. Again, this is net worth, $3 billion. The poor woman. She's so oppressed. The poor thing. Oh.
Am I right or am I right or am I right? Right.
Maybe we should get a little GoFundMe going for her too. I still like my little toys. All right. Yeah. So $3 billion net worth. I mean, basically, that's money that she can take it and set it on fire, and it's not going to make or break her. Well, it would make her $3 billion, but I'm saying she's not going to suffer if she loses it tomorrow. She'll be breaking even, basically. Yeah. Okay. That's a lot of money to be thrown around. That's a lot of weight to be thrown around. I mean, basically, she can buy you, whether you like it or not. That's the bottom line here. But oppression. She's oppressed. She's a woman. She's black. A black woman, absolutely oppressed, of course. Her name, Oprah, is actually If anybody, at least the Black Americans, they have this really hard time saying the word ask. It's always axe. They're running around axing people. So her parents actually named her after the let's say, I'm going to call it a mythological character, Orpah, from the rabbinic mythology. Again, that's not technically mythology, but in my mind and heart, it is. Anything that's deviates from the Septuagint is questionable, and we see that in their. You judge them by the fruits. We see that in their practices since. At any rate, it's from the Book of Ruth, and so basically, this is a character that's. I don't want to say Jezebel, but it's a character that's kind of deviates. Ruth kind of stays behind, or is a well, but essentially this Orpah character deviates from Ruth and is kinds of all antagonist, and that's what her parents named her after. I mean, I don't know what else to be said there, but okay. So from Orpah, it went to Oprah. All right. Why? Ask someone else. I don't know. Ask someone else. All right. She was a college dropout, 1 credit away from graduating, and she went on to be a professional and later went back to get that degree. I suspect under managerial pressure. That's quite common. She was also in her youth Miss Black Tennessee, and then from there, Black America, Miss Black America, Oprah Winfrey. I was not expecting that myself. She did a little stint in Baltimore in the 70s. You can see how old she is. Is actually, how old is she now? 70? Yeah, and she did a show, People Are Talking. And in 1984, went to Chicago to do a show, AM Chicago. Now, that stuck for a while. That's what, I don't know what made her famous, but that's what put her on her radar. And then from there, she went on to do the Oprah Winfrey Show, beating out Phil Donahue. Probably, you guys, if you're not old enough, you don't even know who Phil Donahue is. But he was the cat's meow in talk shows back in the day, back in the, at least in the early 80s, until Oprah came on the scene. Yeah, and so Oprah from there, after making tons of money, she made like $30 million in their first year with the Oprah Winfrey Show. 30 million. The poor press woman, right? And from there, she started check this out, Harpo, not to be confused with the comedic stylings of the mid to early 20th century. The Marx brothers, Harpo Marx. But Harpo as in Oprah spelled backwards. Is that demonic or what? Why is she spelling her name backwards for her own production company? Revelation of the method much? And then from there, as some of you might already know, established her own cable television network or channel or station, OWN, Oprah Winfrey Network. And that was in 2011. In 1990s, the mid-90s, she launched a book club while she was doing the Oprah Winfrey Show, and it became an absolute smash. Now, Howard Stern labeled himself the king of media. So, TV show, her own production company, Harpo, now a book club that's like the craze, that's rivaling any book award organization. Suddenly, if you're in the Oprah book club, you're the bestseller. Nobody really cares about anything else. If Stern is the king of media, can we call her the queen of media, the Black queen of media? It's quite it's quite shocking when you look at the writing on the wall here, just how successful she was and how powerful she became and how quickly. Okay, so let's take a look at her personal life. For all that success of this oppressed woman. Oh, I forgot O Magazine around 2000. I mean, does it get more perverted? Is there any innuendo than O, a woman's magazine? Well, it's not a woman's magazine officially, but I mean, look at the picture here on the top right. That's from AM America. It's the second to the left. The first one, by the way, the top left middle, let's say, where she's wearing the red dress. That one is from a moment that she's well known for and people make fun of, where she did a show that she gave, and this is when her ratings started dropping. 2004, early 2000s. And so she gave away cars to get the ratings back up. So literally everyone in her audience got a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. She's running around and shouting that. All right. And so we hear that. We've heard that for years now. And you get a car, and you get this, and you get that to get the ratings up, to buy people. Now, people like the Chinese BRICS taking over, they know that if they spend a certain amount in advertising, what have you, questionable advertising no less, a click of a button, so to speak, they know that they'll get a certain percentage of the population guaranteed. So it's advanced, that kind of buying an audience. And all these other things. Let's not get off on too many tangents here. Where am I at? Oh yeah, I was talking about the magazine. Yeah. Also, there's an internet rumor. It's been debunked, whatever that's worth. And when I hear debunked now, I think of Snopes and the lockdown, and how credible that is. How credible any org is. I trust no one. Even the .govs lately. I don't know. It's anyway. So, but yeah, there's that internet rumor that she was on the list, but now rumors on the internet are denouncing that, whatever that's worth. But if you look at her private life, and that's what I was trying to get to, AM Chicago, you see that second to the right? I mean, she's got the cropped hairdo. She's got I mean, look at the diversity in her audience. You guys see all that diversity? You know what I'm talking about here? We're talking about International Women's Day. But this has been her audience for decades. All women. And when there's men in there, they get battered. Battered. We'll get into that a little bit. So from the very onset, she was obviously an activist, a man-hater, and the icon of this movement from the late 20th century on. She didn't originate it. She didn't proliferate this movement. Really, arguably started in the early 20th century, not the mid 20th century like we think, with the women's rights movement and all that, women's lib. Wasn't that? It was actually in the early 20th century. But again, not to get off on too many tangents, she was the icon in the late 20th century. She was the leader, the figurehead. Okay, so her parents split. All right. She was living with her father. Her mother had some kind of relationship while they were separated, where she ended up having a half-sister, and her mother took that half-sister and put it up for adoption. And so now this half-sister is in and out of orphanages and the system and all that, and got all kinds of messed up, was trying to find her lineage, and they would not help her. Her mother didn't want anything to do with her. And so she had to do her own investigation, and she found Oprah Winfrey's niece or something and did a DNA test, and that's how she officially got on the radar as a half-sister of Oprah Winfrey. So you can see we've got problems at home already, and there's a lot of that to talk about. She, again, her show was bottoming out at the turn of the century, as much of the productions were. It was all crap, really, from the 90s on. So she decided to go viral, right? She did the Lance Armstrong interview when she had the OWN channel, and that put her back on the map, and of course destroyed that man and everything. And I'm not excusing steroid use, but if we're going to be adults about it, it's quite common, unfortunately, throughout sports. But yeah, the big thing about the Lance Armstrong thing was not only that he was doing steroids, but the big talk was why he was doing it. He was Mr. One Testicle Man. So it was uber emasculation, opportunity for that, Mr. One Testicles, right? The guy that was the star, the superstar of bicycling became Mr. One Testicle because of Oprah Winfrey. That's no coincidence. Also, we have Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Oy vey. Did anyone know or even care what her color was, what her ethnicity was before she started making us think about it to become viral herself? Did anyone know or give two craps, by the way? And Tyler Perry played a role in those shenanigans as well. Oprah's Angel Network. Bear with me here. 3 entities I want you to pay attention to. Oprah's Angel Network. What is that? That sounds really nice. It's kind of fuzzy, warmy sounding. The Oprah Winfrey Foundation and the Oprah Winfrey Charitable Foundation. Now, when I hear foundation, I think Clinton Foundation and Foundation period. They tend to be corrupt, if not all. I mean, I don't want to I don't want to slander or whatever, but they're quite sketch, are they not? Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, yeah. Welcome to I see Daniel's brought his own following, it seems like today. Or something happened. I don't know. Or this topic, but I suspect it's Daniel.
I tried.
All right, good for you. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. All right, so let me get to let's get back to this. Okay. So yeah, I mean, basically, where's the IRS investigation for this? 3 foundations. There's something's up. No doubt. All right. By the way, there was discussion about her being a prostitute early in life. This comes from a biographical account of Oprah Winfrey. Drug use, by the way, one I've never heard of, also comes from a biographical account. Of course, we all know about the weight issues. And did you know there's some baby mama drama with Oprah Winfrey herself, not just her stepsister? Again, this comes from the biography itself. I can share that link. Should I share that now? Let me see. Actually, remind me later, if you don't mind. Forgive me, but yeah, if I start clicking, it's going to get all crazy. Uh-oh. Can you guys still hear me? Uh-oh. I'm frozen on my end. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Testing 1, 2.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, good. I was about to start rapping. Nobody wants to hear me rap. All right. Okay, so yeah, that's what I got so much for Oprah Winfrey, her accomplishments. Thank you, Inc. Her successes, her background. We get the idea. And, I hate like dragging someone through the mud. It makes me feel bad, dirty. But I'm going to call it a necessary evil. And I know people want to argue ad hominem, right? But let me put that these that's a fallacy. That therefore you're automatically wrong. No, actually, those are not wrong automatically arguments. They're weak arguments. 1, 2. Let's be an adult about things. For example, the most common one is the ad hominem. All right, so in other words, I can't say anything bad about my homo to say, well, you know what? I don't want to hear what you have to say about Islam because Muhammad was a pedophile. Right? According to these logical fallacies and logical way of arguing. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that's the most absurd thing. If a Muslim comes at me, well, that's ad hominem. You get out of here, man. Grow up. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm talking about Oprah Winfrey in such a personal, nasty way. So you guys can understand what drives this person to be who she is and do what she's done. It's not only, let's say, a spiritual corruption, and I'm judging her by her fruits, but it's something very deep and personal with her. The way she was brought up, the way, therefore, she treated other people. And even though she comes off as this loving, sweet person, her fruits show otherwise. She's destroyed men. She's destroyed homes. She's destroyed modern civilization. We're talking from the 70s, not the 80s, from the Oprah Winfrey Show. Before that, as I pointed out, that AM Chicago ran for, I think it was 8 years. So we're talking about 50 years now, a half a century. She's had her hands in things. Again, with her politics in the 21st century. As you see here, a Freemason. Barack Hussein Obama, donning that Freemason medallion around her neck. MLK, those shenanigans. And I'm just finding out about MLK myself from Chad Jackson and the gang. It was a bit heartbreaking. Kind of, it made me very uneasy when I was first hearing those things. I rebelled a little bit, but it was just because you have these role models, and these role models that they them establish, and people pull the carpet from under you, and it puts you in a kind of a state of vertigo. It just leaves you.
What if this is as good as it gets?
Oh.
Yeah, it just kind of leaves you disoriented. At any rate, all right, so let's get on to the next slide. Okay, so here we're looking at the broken homes. I'm sure everyone here has already heard that a fatherless home leads to criminal behavior. This is not just opinion. This is thoroughly researched fact. All right, so let's look at, here's a .gov, whatever that's worth, NIH. Oy vey. Sorry. All right, so what are they saying? Popularized by whatever his name, 1951, World Health Organization, the WHO. Oh my goodness, it gets worse. But even they're reporting the conclusion that broken homes cause crime has been a sturdy one. Meta-analysis consistently finds that children who are raised in homes in which at least one biological parent is absent face a higher prevalence of adolescent criminal behavior. Again, this is all these established orgs, whatever that's worth, report this to you, amongst many other academics and so on. And, well, then there's inductive reasoning. There's what the academics call anecdotal evidence. People around you, if not your own lives. Forgive me, but, let's get real. So, Oprah's man-hating, and what I mean by that. How many of you, even those of you that are not from the United States, how many of you know someone who's been influenced by Oprah Winfrey's messaging to a degree where they tend to be beyond reproach? They hate men with a passion, and there's nothing you can say or do to make any difference. And have consequently themselves had an Oprah Winfrey-like life. Divorce, broken children, criminal behaviors from them and their offspring. I mean, for me, this is very personal. In fact, I myself was, to some degree, early on, raised by Oprah myself because I was being raised by a female sibling who was quite psychotic, let me be frank. And that's all she would do was spout Oprah this, Oprah that, and I would sit there and watch this Oprah stuff and buy into it. And what Oprah did for decades, for generations, was tell men that they're evil, that they're pathetic, and that they're sexual deviants. And we hear that throughout mass media now. But let's go to the anecdotal, if you will, and it's scientific as well. Let's put this in perspective. When we are little children, is it like mass media purports now, propagates, that little boys are chasing little girls around? Is that true? Or is it that little girls develop first, years before little boys, and little girls go around chasing little boys? Now, forgive me if I sound like a pedophile. I'm not talking about pedophilia here. I'm talking about human development. And this rhetoric that Oprah Winfrey has sold the masses on worldwide, that men are these sexual deviants and women are these victims. Something that we even hear in these circles. When I say these circles, the Christian apologist circles. I mean, I'm not going to go into Islam and how women are treated all today, because you've heard it a gazillion times every day from these circles too. And to me, that's suspect, to be frank. I call them out on it all the time. To me, that's a perversion of Christ's message. There's no room in libtardation in Christianity. But not to get off on a tangent. It's not really a tangent. It's pertaining to what we're talking about today. But I don't want to focus on that. So, if we're going to be adults about things, the reality is that girls chase around little boys, women molest little boys, and we call that a coming of age experience, unfortunately. The babysitter, for example. Don't get me started there. And I'm doing my best to be as professional as I possibly can to keep my emotions in check as I speak. So that's why I'm speaking slowly. So I don't lose control. Usually I go to one of my little toys to help calm me down. Let's see if I got one for this moment. It doesn't look like it. Not off the top of my head. Oh, here we go.
And to think that this was the cause of it all.
All right. So, yeah. And here's another little nasty thing about that. Let me now go span to the end of our lives. If let's go back to when there were traditional relationships where people will still be married at an old age, will not get divorced. Isn't it quite tragic where when men get older, they lose their sex drive, their libido decreases, while women start flaming up, flaming out, and start chasing men yet again? Now women are yet again now chasing them around. Oh man, it's quite tragic. But I'm just showing that in both cases, very young and very old, it's the women that are being, well, to use Oprah Winfrey's mindset, pervs, degenerates. Isn't that tacky though? But for some reason it's okay to call men pervs and degenerates when the science, the evidence, shows, at least in two parts of life, quite the opposite to be true. But here's another thing. If I'm, for example, if I'm not married and I'm walking down the street and I see someone's coochie hanging out and their boobies hanging out, I'm going to get tempted by that. Even if I avert my eyes, now it's been, well, even at glance, it's been, a seed has been planted. Now, some theologian would argue that's my fault. And I get what they're trying to say. But where's the integrity, the credibility in such a statement? I mean, I get what they're saying, but, and I'm not trying to sound Muslim here. I'm just, or someone who's saying, well, the rapist was right. I'm not even saying that at all. Don't run off on these mass media tangents. It's mass media conditioning, where you have to have some kind of extreme for one end or the other. What I'm saying is, have some responsibility, some integrity. Women have become whores. Forgive me. Let me be blunt here. Put your children to the side if you've got children with you. I've got a lack of filter, and I'm going to use real language today. Women for decades now have been conditioned to be whores and proud of it. Not only that, they've been conditioned to be bitches and be proud of it. And I'm going to show you all these samples. I don't have to, really. Have you seen, I'm talking about the United States here. I can't speak for across the world. Though I work with the Chinese and I've seen some common behaviors there. And they're supposed to be communist and traditional and all this other nonsense, but they're not. Trust me. At least from what I've seen. But mass media has destroyed the woman, has redefined the woman to be something extremely degenerate, self-serving, and hypocritically malicious. I don't call that a woman. I call that what it is, a streetwalker, a free streetwalker. We used to say that not that long ago. We used to have more respect for hookers because we would say, at least a hooker is getting paid. What the hell we got going on this day? What is this? What is it? The friends only link? Friends, the whole Andrew Tate thing, which was founded by a Jew, by the way, in London. Oh, Lord have mercy. All right. I'm getting out of control of my emotions. So let me get back to the presentation. Please forgive me. All right. So looking at the chart here, looking at marriage, and I'm doing this for a reason. I did some research on statistics. The .gov, even the census, the U.S. Census, these people are absolutely deplorable, man. They reported, didn't give you any layman's interpretation so someone can understand it. But only that, they gave you framework to completely deceive you with the framework itself. Never mind the statistics they gave you are a bit murky. You can't, they didn't even define what it is for you. You try to, here's some numbers. It's absolutely, to put in perspective, dawa is what it is. It's federal dawa. It's federal degradation to cover up the horrendous society that they created from the top down. The horrendous, degenerate, anti-Christian culture worldwide. And so I cherry-picked, some would say, some information to help make it very clear to you guys. Because what they're trying to show you is standard deviations. That's not going to say anything to you unless they define it. They give you a key what that means. And they compare. What do they compare to? They compare to the year before. So what they're arguing is that for the past decade, divorce has stabilized, which is not completely true. But they're saying for the past decade, divorce has stabilized. Now let me postulate this question here. How many people are getting married compared to, let's say, from the mid to early 20th century? What is the rate of marriage? Let me ask you another question. How many people who do get married disrespect the institution of marriage so much that they don't even care about whether or not they get divorced? They remain perpetually married and go on to have these promiscuous lives anyways, because either they don't want to spend the money for the documentation, or they just hate each other so much they can't even come to an agreement to even divorce, or they just don't care, or whatever the case may be, or they're just California degenerates. Okay, well, we'll be separated and still do our own things, and who cares? Just don't even care about anything, none of that to begin with. And how much does that skew those numbers? But to put it in real perspective, I gave you guys a chart, and you can look it up for yourselves. I'll give you the link again later. I've got all these links queued up, and I'll share them all one by one in the chat in the middle or end somewhere. So I'm not clicking around and mess things up. I'll do that later. Please forgive me, but I will do it. And if I don't, please remind me. But yes, so the chart on the right is the Randallison.com, which I'll share with that. You guys, I've got a whole PDF which I'll share with you guys. You can look at all these things for yourself. You can see that the blue line is the rate of marriage from 1860 on to the 20 teens. 144 years of marriage and divorce compared to each other. Now let's take a close look. You see that marriage, and again, it looks like they're using standard deviation. The CDC, okay, no wonder. But all right, so we still have this little bar here, so we have a visual, so we can better understand of what's going on. So World War I ends. There's a decline at the end of the war in marriage. Okay, and then it skyrockets, understandably so. The men come back from war, and now everyone's making whoopee and having babies. And then the Great Depression hits. I'm talking about marriage here, the blue line. The Great Depression hits in the 30s, and then it drops again. And that goes without saying. When there's financial problems is the number one reason people divorce, people break up, over money. And so they didn't even bother to get married to begin with during the Great Depression. They had something that they were more focused on, which is staying alive. Unfortunately, that's not the very Christian way of approaching things. But all right, may be blessed. What can we do? And so after that, after the economy starts to recover, marriage starts going up, and it actually peaks right up to World War II. Look at the marriage. Can you imagine what's going on with the population here too? I should have done a separate bar for that in retrospect. So there's also a decrease in between. You see a couple of spikes, but in between the two spikes, there's a valley, and right where the valley is, all of a sudden divorce peaks. That's in the late 1940s. So what's going on here, people? In late 1940s, 1950, the men are coming back from war. The men are coming back from war, and suddenly there's less marriages and a peak, and almost up until that point, it was by a large differentiation, a massive peak in divorce. Well, how's that a welcome? Thank you for serving our country. Welcome home. Wow. Wow.
We can do it. But that doesn't mean they should do it.
Well, look again. All right, so I don't want to. Let me keep going with the presentation, and if you want, we can make that argument later about whether or not we should marry or not. But I hear what you're saying. But all right, let's get into that a little later. So yeah, and then after that, again, suddenly there's a peak. There's a drop in divorce, and there's a peak in marriage. A massive peak. Okay, that's interesting. I guess now the appetites have been made wet again, no pun intended. And now we're getting married, and divorce is decreasing because now it's the Industrial Revolution of America. It's the industrial military complex is now being converted, and we're making all these appliances and TVs, cars, and all these homewares. And so all of a sudden the economy is good in the 50s. Let's all get married. Let's forget about divorcing. Times are good. 50s were probably the best decade in American history. Personally, I would say the 80s. 50s are before my time. But those are the two good decades in U.S. history. The rest, well. So then there's a drop in the 60s again, a marriage. Yet, look at how low it drops. The second lowest rate of marriage in the 60s. And now we're having the British Revolution, the Satanism, the Communist Revolution, the women's lib, and the civil rights, and all these things. In the 70s, divorce starts peaking again. At all-time high in the 70s. Now, the marriage goes up and down, but divorce steadily increases in the 70s. The 70s was a really corrupt, culturally speaking, spiritually speaking, a very corrupt decade, at least in America. Very corrupt. There was porn in the middle of New York City. Anyone can access it. I mean, I'm talking about big buildings right in the heart of New York City. It was all over the place. By the way, when it comes to the pedophilia scandal in the Catholic Church, that was the 70s. There's a bell curve there as well. Just like we see the peak in the divorce rate in the 50s, the pedophilia in the Catholic Church was in the 70s. I don't think that's a coincidence. The cultural corruption in the 70s even deceived the faithful. And then the 80s, things started to get better. Say no to drugs. Reagan, yeah, he was a movie star. He wasn't necessarily guiltless, blameless, and reported Freemason. I mean, Hollywood product. But times were good. The economy was flowing. The debt was increasing. But things were, as you can see, even with divorce and marriage, things were getting better. And then the 90s hit. The recession of the U.S. Bill Clinton took over. He dismantled the United States. What I find interesting is that the divorce rate is decreasing. You see that? Well, here's where the deception comes in. Yeah, the divorce is decreasing, but there's less people married. Look at the marriage rate. All-time historical low. Nobody's getting married. They can't afford to. Just like the Great Depression, but even worse. During the recession of the 90s, the Clinton era. Nobody can afford to. Now we're all having one child, if we even get married. And then there was the turn of the century, the Y2K scare, the crash of 2008, 2007, 9. Really, it's really from 2007 to 2009. The U.S. bailouts, that is. Yeah, and a bunch of other junk, all up until the lockdown of 2020, which was the nail in the coffin. And it's only going to get worse. So I just wanted to point these things out again. I'll share these links for you guys to look at these things in more depth. But I think this all tells you what you need to know. And by the way, Oprah Winfrey, the 80s. Look what's going on in marriage. Coincidence? I would say correlation. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, as we say. No pun intended. All right, I wanted to talk about a little bit about Gaia and Gia, this character from Hollywood, and the Baphomet culture, the pagan culture, Oprah Winfrey's church, this Joel Osteen character, who, by the way, I did a few months ago, less than half a year ago, well, give or take. I did one with Patriotic Christian UK. Hope he's doing well. I haven't heard from him in a while, by the way. Yeah, so basically we're doing a show, we're talking about this Muslim woman who went into his complex and started shooting people randomly, innocent people, Christian people, from at least from her perspective. Now, Paul Sutliff showed up for that stream as well, and he said Joel Osteen is not, he's really a corrupt organization. He's not really Christian, from what he was saying on that stream. And in retrospect, now that I've learned more about Protestantism and all that, I understand what he's saying, especially the TV evangelists. I mean, who likes TV? Even up until recently, I was even being a bit of an apologist for the TV evangelists to some degree, to be honest with you. I'm over that. So I get what he's saying. Regardless, that Muslim woman still thought they were Christian. And from her perspective, she went into a Christian institution and was shooting people randomly, using her own child as a shield, who got shot, of course, in the crossfire. These people are deplorable. Not to get off on tangents. And as a woman, by the way, that's why I brought that up. I'm tired of hearing how Musliminas are victims. You Christian apologists, get your shit together. Grow up. Get real. Yeah. Forgive me. Like I said, I'm going to be a little raw today. Please forgive my unprofessionalism. Okay. I'm sorry?
Well, no, we like that.
You like it? Okay, good.
Yeah,
Great.
no, for real. Yeah.
Don't encourage me. All right. Yeah, so something you may have heard of when it comes to Oprah Winfrey is this John of God character from South America. I don't know much about him. I know he got busted for like a couple dozen instances of sexual abuse, including children. He's a pedophile. And she's still promoting him and defending him. Yeah, her own church, again, you can look into that yourself. I apologize. I didn't do a deep dive on that. I wanted to, but every site that I visited required me to take mandatory cookies, and that's something I just don't do. So you'll forgive me, please, for not looking into that and not having more information, more specific details about that org. Not that she's going to reveal everything online, but yeah, it would have been nice to at least present something a little more than just a couple of pictures. But yeah, I mean, basically judge them by their fruits. So, but yeah, please look into that yourselves. There's like New York Times, I think it was, and all that. There's like one or two sites that were reporting something about her church, but not much at all. It seems to be very much on lockdown, which is fascinating. Someone who's that much of a public figure as like Oprah Winfrey is, and you can't find any kind of information about her church. Talk about being locked down, being secretive. That's really suspicious to me. Really sketch. Uh-oh. Okay, I can't do it with the Spund. I'm not sure you got, okay, I guess you guys are communicating. All right. So yeah, I mean, forgive me again, but yeah, please feel free. I encourage you to look into her little own cult there, whatever's going on there. But let's just take a look at, I mean, we'll take an even better look at BRICS and how it's taking over. Again, this guy's, I believe, Brazilian. I could be wrong. João sounds like a Portuguese name, South America. So I'm putting the two together. Yeah. So here's another thing, by the way, as far as BRICS taking over. When she established the, what was it that was it Oprah backwards? I forget what it's called now. Forgive me. Harpo. I should have, yeah, the Marx Brothers. Yeah, as well as Owen. And then now Harpo and Owen have merged, so you'll know. So she basically, let's say, shut it down and merged it with Owen. But that has backing from Discovery Channel, which is owned by Disney. But okay, let's say that's a slippery slope if you want to use those kind of arguments. Since then, Owen has bought 20%. I think it's majority outside of her own ownership, from what I remember. At any rate, Disney pretty much now has the controlling stock or controlling interest of OWN, Disney. And if you guys seen my streams before, you know that Disney is pretty much being taken over by China and Sony, and these Chinese, these Oriental interests. I mean, from within, of course. I mean, you look at all their little divisions and subdivisions and all that, all the work, especially in CGI and all that. But also from without. So there you go. Even a powerhouse like Oprah Winfrey, who's got $30 billion to just throw around, is selling out to these pagan entities. Okay. So, I'm sorry, I get silly with my nicknames here. The 2025, and it's coming out in 2 weeks. The 2025 Snow White, Snot Queen, and the Seven Cucks, who's featuring. It's with Wonder Woman. What's her name? I haven't. Gal. See, before I did my research for this, even though I watched both Wonder Woman movies, I never liked this actress. There's something about her that just rubbed me the wrong way. You can tell she's stank. Yeah, but it turns out she's an Israeli chick, Gal Gadot, and she's playing the evil witch in this 2025 rendition. So what did this Rachel Zegler chick? We're going to show a video. You see why I'm reacting like this. Actually, you know what? Watch it for yourself. I won't even try to redo it. But just so you guys know, it's scheduled to be a flop. It's the projections are bad. Oh, and before it comes out, by the way, it's already been nominated for one award by the Queerties. The Queerties have nominated it and given it an award for the next big thing, y'all. Talk about International Women Wannabes Day. Lord have mercy. But also, it's been given a winner. It won the Worst Trailer Award by the Rusty Bagel. That's got to be a spoof. Rusty Bagels. I wonder what they're making fun of there. Oy vey. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys. I've got some clips that I want to share. Let's start going down the line here. Let me make sure I've got. Okay, we're good. Rumble's okay. All right, caught up on chats on YouTube side. All right. So that's all I got for you guys. That was actually a much more brief presentation than I usually do, under an hour. I'm kind of proud of myself here.
Brilliant! 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 Brilliant!
All right. All right. Do you have anything you want to add to that before I start sharing stuff, Daniel?
Well, no, let's save it. It pertains to what I want to talk about, so let's not spoil the tea. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So let me go ahead and lighten up the mood a little bit. Go with this guy again. Uh-oh. Why is it? Come. Oh, I got to remove this. Nope. Okay, there we go. Let me make it bigger. Where's it at? Here. Okay. And go.
Men and women are equal. Women are doing all the same jobs now. I was waiting to board a flight recently, and I noticed that the pilot was a female, which I thought was cool. I've never seen a woman fly a plane. I mean, I didn't actually see her fly the plane because obviously I caught a different flight, but I just thought it was cool. I used to work in an office with this black woman named Verna Jean. She was so passionate about anything she'd say. I'd be like, hey, Verna, you want a cup of coffee? No, you know I want a cup of coffee. I was married to a Mexican guy.
Yeah, I've known those women. My favorite is when they come up to you and like start eyeballing you and go, "Are you racist? Get out of here!" All right. And I've shared the links for this guy in the chat, both in Rumble and YouTube.
Even on their website, ancestry.com, it shows the family back 5 generations, all the way back to 1996.
Oof. It's not funny to explain that. Let me put you on mute there, Daniel. Yeah. So, yeah, basically, and it's look. I've got Mexicans in my family. There's some validity to that. Let me go back a little bit here. There's one I wanted to do. Let me see here. Phooey. All right, let's just skip it. You've got the link. I encourage you guys to watch it. It's pretty funny. All right, let's go on to the next thing. This is let's say breaking news as of yesterday, give or take, or at least that's when I first heard it. Nope, that's not what I want to hear. Let's go back to the other one because I don't want to get zapped. Forgive me, let me play this out because I have to because the YouTube won't allow me to skip it. And we'll get back to this. Oh, another one right behind. Fantastic. Yeah, YouTube is just getting really, really bad. What? Okay. Here we go.
A secret that Warner Brothers, DC, and James Gunn all have a lot riding on the new Superman movie set to hit theaters this summer. And with so many rumors and reports and talks about reshoots potentially for this movie at the last minute coming out there, they need a lot of good press. They need to go full out in.
I just got to say, I released, and we'll probably take another look at that, Daredevil Reborn. I mean, it's crazy, all this Reborn, remakes, reboots. We're talking about Fantastic Four in one of the recent live streams, and how many times are you going to reboot within 2 decades, within one generation? The same movie, the same story over and over again. Fantastic Four. 3 to 4 times of the same movie. Are you kidding me? The same thing with the Superman. The same character, the same story, origin, done over and over and over again. What are they trying to do? Well, they're trying to saturate it with increments, more and more of the anti-Christian degradation, the cultural degradation. That's what they're doing.
Into their marketing blitz and establish a good vibe for this movie heading into the summer. Might be a little harder to do that if DC doesn't have a YouTube channel where they put out all their trailers, but apparently that's the case, at least temporarily. This morning, when people woke up, they saw that the DC YouTube channel looked a little bit different because it had been hacked. DC's official YouTube channel has been hacked. And you can see all of a sudden the username changed to Jinwoo LJW10710, a completely different profile picture. You see some Asian text. It might be Korean potentially. I don't know if it's Korean, Japanese, what it might be. But it got even more funny when Team YouTube officially replied to discussing film about this post. Thanks for bringing this to our attention. It's best for the...
Yeah, so... Again, that's nothing new. I mean, pretty much everything's hacked these days, or at least it seems that way. But it is pretty bad. I mean, again, we're talking about one of the last bastions, Universal. Here's the Warner Brothers. Their website getting hacked is kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. Especially when this person is like just manhandling them. Nobody can get access. And later, I'll share this link. You guys can see he ends up deleting all the content. And no doubt they have backups. I hope they still do. Not that I really care, but I'm just saying. And that, again, we're fighting this is a global battle. Right? So it's like, to me, it's the Hebrew West versus the, I don't want to say they're both anti-Christian, but I call it pagan, even though that's not 100% accurate. But the pagan East, BRICS, basically BRICS versus UK, US, essentially, what it boils down to. You want to throw Germany in there? It's just bad, man. It's just the grass is not greener. If they take over, I mean, their products already are bad. They've already been saturating our market with their product. And look the kind of influence, the kind of impact this had. Bruce Lee. How many people have been running around beating each other up because of Bruce Lee? That's in the 70s. Oh, by the way, Buddhism is peaceful, people. Oy vey. All right, let's go on to the next one. Oh, I can't remember what I was sharing here. Let me see.
That it has a fantastic record, and at one point, obviously, the majority of the 3D artists were males, and because of what Disney was doing, because Disney influences the industry all over North America, I did an expose on Sheridan just last year, and they had 27 people in class, only 2 men.
Insane.
Because they were hiring women only, so that affected the people who were going to go to this prestigious school. There was no.
And again, all we've heard for decades now is the oppression of women, lack of privilege, patriarchy. It's a man's world. No, I mean, these are all. I mean, first of all, they're all begging the question. All these. It's all BS. These are fabrications. They're absolute lies. They're creating this construct that's not real, and then attacking this construct, the straw man, on top of that. So, yeah, now we've got a bunch of conditioned women, and I say women loosely, no pun intended. Forgive me here. Let me just blunt, because I mean, to me, to call them women is offensive to women. So what we've got here is a bunch of self-serving, hypocritical, malicious, asinine degenerates taking over society with force somehow with force. Watch Made by Jim Bob to get into the discussion about the use of force in society. I won't get into those philosophical debates myself.
Room for men, so guys did not go to Sheridan to learn how to do 3D animation because there's no jobs for them.
That's happening in all kinds of industries. There's been lots of pieces recently about how men aren't reading fantasy anymore, and then you go and look for the fantasy books which are getting published, and it's like 99% female authors.
I was just thinking of that. Male fantasy novels are just being basically blacklisted from literary agents and publishing houses. And so fantasy genre, apart from the really big names like Sanderson, it's all what they call romantasy now. And male fantasy...
just because he got grandfathered in. Like, if he wasn't big before, they would have just cut him.
Yep, exactly. So...
That explains some of the issues I'm having in that department too.
Yeah. They don't want to cater to men. It's as simple as that.
One thing that's going to be interesting over the next 6 months to a year is how Disney's going to have to respond because of Epic Universe opening up in Universal Orlando, and that's going to hit them hard. I don't know how hard it's going to hit them, but it's going to hit them hard. And Walt Disney World's such a big money maker for them, and so with Epic Universe opening in a couple of months, they are not going to have as much to fall back on some of those theme park profits that they historically have. And a lot of their movies aren't doing as well as they have historically either. So they're going to have to make shifts in order to keep up with the culture. But I still think it's going to be fool's gold unless.
All right. Yeah, no commercials. All right. So let's go on to the next one. I apologize. I already shared the link for that in the chat if you want to watch the whole thing. But you get the idea. I mean, basically, every industry is being overrun by women while they complain about how oppressed they are. Do I care? Yeah, I care because, well, there's a lot of things that they don't need to be doing, number one. And that goes without saying. Like, I don't want to sit there and watch, for example, an Ultimate Fighting Championship, which I already have reservations doing to begin with, where women are bloodying each other up. That's quite sadistic. For example, that's one of many. But yeah, I mean, look, Here's the thing. All right, forgive me. Before I get into this, whatever her name is, I don't even know her name. I don't really care. I don't care enough to memorize it. Please forgive me. But she's a little skank, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, so look, here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. And for any deviants who might be listening as well. How do you define woman? That's the crux of it all. How do you define woman? We're celebrating International Women's Day. What is a woman? Is a woman someone that goes out and is more concerned about whether or not what she says identically matches up with mass media conditioning? Number one, that's the forefront of what her existence is about. More so than raising a family, loving her husband, having self-respect for herself, is to sound modern, to sound current, to be running with the herd. The latter is more important than being an upright child of God. Or is it an upright child of God? Which is it? I mean, you can't have both. Sorry, you can't serve two masters. You got to choose. I'm speaking to women out there that may be listening that this might apply to, or might not apply to, but might disagree with me. I'm asking you the question. At least for some food for thought, as they say. And the same goes for men. You know, if the shoe fits, to be honest, and you guys know me by now, or some of you do, I'm full disclosure. I don't mind talking about myself and my failures. And I'll be honest, as a man, I failed too. I failed too. As a young child, I wanted to have not only a family, but a big family. I wanted to have a van. I kid you not. I probably didn't even hit puberty while I was dreaming about having a van full of small children that were yelling, and I would, drive them around, and we would do this and that together and have all kinds of fun together. But I never really did what I was supposed to as a man to secure that future for myself and for others, and for the children I never had, for the wife that would be willing to bear that many children and take on that kind of responsibility. I always, part of that was I always got into the wrong kind of relationship. Not to get off into many tangents here. But I always had it in my mind that I have more time, that youthful indiscretion. Time is on my side. Decades later, here I am. Here I am. I mean, I've had a full life otherwise. If I die tomorrow, I'll be at rest with it. I'm not in a hurry to die. I still feel like I got a lot to do, and some crazy reason I don't want to leave this screwed up world. But, I do regret not following through on the one or the biggest thing I wanted since childhood, and the family. And making all the mistakes that I did with all the relationships that I had along the way. And why am I including this? I think it's fair. I think it's just to include the other side as well. Here's the problem. And I'm going to show a clip, and I'm not a big fan of this because just like the other arguments, it's already begging the question that you've got to be a certain extreme evil way, which is not true. But we'll get to that. When I share the clip of the color purple, we'll take a look at that. That's begging the question. But underneath that, in essence, it makes a solid point in that, yeah, women stopped being women because of the conditioning, starting from the early 20th century. This is how far back that conditioning goes. But men stopped being men too. It is our responsibility, well, to keep women in line. Just like it is their responsibility to keep us honest, to keep us motivated, to keep us in line. One hand washes the other. That's what marriage is about. You take care of each other. You make sure you don't deviate. And when you do, you drag the other person back in. You put them back on track, on the right path. You're there for them when they're struggling. You're their support. But a woman is a woman, and a woman has different roles than a man. A man's not going to come home and breastfeed children. Doy. A woman's not going to go out and defend the family. Doy. You're going to put your best foot forward. You want a man defending the family. You want a man out competing with other men to be able to bring home sustenance to take care of that family. And you need the woman home to take care of the children and of that man. This is one hand washing the other, a left hand and a right hand. Not two right hands like Allah, the greatest of deceivers. That's queer. That's dysfunction. It's problematic. And we see the fruits of that in the 21st century. Now, see, I've lost some people here, but prove me wrong. Let me put the link. Well, I don't want to. I'll let Daniel do his presentation. He's got a big one. But the link is, pinned up. If anyone wants to come up and, prove me wrong, then please do. By all means. I mean, I've invited someone else. I've invited a woman here for her perspective, because I want to do, despite my passionate assertions, I do want to have a dialogue. I want to have that discussion. I want to hear different perspectives, because that is much more fruitful. So please feel free to come up if you have a different perspective or even want to add. That's fine too. All right, so let's get into this skank. No pun intended. God forbid you get into her. If you do, make sure you wear a condom. Okay. Let's try that again. Speaking of which, right? Listen, you guys can stare at this one for a minute. We'll play this out. Okay, really? The winner's doing this. Okay, let's try that again. And I think I've showed this in another stream before. I could be wrong. Make sure you guys can see this. Clicks. Yep. Okay, we're good. Okay. So yeah, again, the muzzle useful idiots, and happen to be female. It was quite common during lockdown. It was what they're calling the Karens now, which I take offense to. But anyway, let's get off of 2-minute tangents here. There's not only this useful idiot, but there's another one that comes by later on, and we're talking. This is the year. What is it? 2023. The 23 Disney thing. And they're still walking around with muzzles.
Snow White. Hello. How are you, first of all? And what was it like out there with everyone watching?
Another one walking by. There's another one going to come by, even a different one. All muzzled up. Where's the brains, man? Where's the functional cranial mass? What's it doing right now with these women walking around? And there's year 2025, I still see them walking around. There's still teachers that are forcing muzzles on children right now, by the way. Elderly homes, forcing muzzles on the elderly, forcing social distancing, 6 feet apart, isolation on the elderly. forcing, now in pill form, the lethal serums on the elderly. Where is the accountability? Not to get off on tangents. Where's the accountability?
This
Oh my God.
first
Well,
look.
hilariously, I do not know what they watched. I did not see it. We were not allowed to watch. We had to stand on our spot backstage. So it sounded like they really liked it, which is really, really exciting. I saw the title card, which looked great. I got really emotional hearing everybody's reactions to it, which was really, really incredible. And so I feel
So she likes to see her name in neon. She likes the title card. Gag. We've already got all kinds of problems. And she hasn't even got to the thing that really pisses everyone off yet.
very blessed to be a part of something that seems to be very
Blessed by whom? Baphomet? Jabulon? All right, sorry, God. I'm being judgmental. God forgive me.
important to a lot of people, including myself.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So
And that really, you'll see that a lot this moment. I mean, does it get more standard for the 21st century? Unfortunately.
stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
And she's going super weird. She's encouraging this twit. Sorry, go ahead, Daniel.
No, is the sound good on my part?
Yeah, perfect. Crystal clear.
Okay, I was just checking.
All right. Yeah, so this is bad. I mean, again, she's basically calling the prince a stalker. The guy who's rescued Snow White, he's a stalker. What are the seven dwarves? Let me just keep going.
So no prince or a different kind of prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story, just because like we cast a guy in the movie,
Right.
Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah.
It's
Great dude? Did she say great dude or great queer? All right.
it's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut.
2024. So yet again, alluding to how many reshoots they had to have, how many times this movie got pushed back because it's such crap. Nobody wants to watch it. They have to keep retooling it.
Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. But it's one of those things.
So true.
It's an inner journey that she goes on to find her true self, and she meets a lot.
An inner journey. What is she, psychotic? Is she living in isolation since the lockdown too? Inner journey. What is that supposed to mean? Get out of your head, psychos. Get off of mass media and get out of your heads. Lord have mercy. Stop romanticizing it. And a journey. It's an inner journey. Oh my God. What is wrong with you people? Oh wait, it's Buddhist. Let me do some drugs. Let me smoke some Buddha. That makes it even cooler. Isolation and drugs. Perfect. What else you got? Anxiety? Now you got the big three for absolute psychosis. And that's who's in charge right now. People that are not only saturated with the three things that make you crazy: isolation, drugs, and anxiety, but they're modeling it for us. They're making it look hip.
A lot of people along the way that make the journey really incredible.
I know I'm almost wrapped, but I quickly have to ask you about the Hunger Games prequel. I am so excited for you.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to puke right now? God, I can't take it anymore. I'll share this for whatever reason. Guess just for full disclosure, I'll share this with you too. This one, let me share this real quick. How many of you have heard of this?
I have never heard about it.
You're blessed. I had opportunity. This has been going on for some decades now. The vagina monologues. It's still going. I'm shocked. I shouldn't be too shocked, but I'm shocked that it's still going. Let's take a look at what it is here. Okay. Here we got a good description down here. From MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Been there, done that. Really interesting group of people over there. All right, Vagina Monologues, a collection of monologues based on interviews with over 200 women about their vaginas, sexuality, and identity. Hey, man, are you laughing? What, you don't like vagina? Are you making fun of vaginas over there? Oh, you're such a sexist, man. You can't laugh at vaginas, bro. Sorry. Yeah. Why me, Lord?
Oy
The script includes introduction, the names of different vaginas, and
Oh
the
yeah,
stories.
we
Sorry,
had
go ahead.
that in Norway as well. Some artist drew a lot of different JJs, and it was plastered all over the news.
Oh Lord.
Yep.
And of course, the Pussy Riot in Russia. That was rebelling against the government and the church. Really, mostly the church.
Yeah, free the nipple.
Yeah. So the names of their vaginas and the stories of hair, orgasms, and more. Oh, can't wait for the more. The big O, like Oprah Winfrey's magazine. O, the big O. There's a video here I was going to share with you guys, but I'll pass. You guys can, if you're really, for whatever reason, interested in that. I don't know. John Agado, we talked about. Let's do the next one. Fullest liberties. What is this? Sorry, I've got so many links. I forgot what I'm sharing with you guys. Oh, it was about whether or not Oprah Winfrey was on the Epstein Island list. I'll skip that. Let's go right into this one. You might have already seen as well. Let's play it. Let's see if we get a commercial. Let me make sure you guys can see. Yep. Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Of course. And it's fundraising for Palestinians. Yeah. All right. Let me.
I get a lot of that too. I don't know why they try to push it to me. Like I'm the last person they should show those commercials to. They're everywhere at this point. I wonder why.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly why. I couldn't agree more. I mean, yeah, they do it on purpose. They're quite evil. Okay, here we go.
Jesus says he is a sinner. In the film, he says he's a sinner. Jesus says he is a sinner, a liar, that Lucifer is inside him.
Jesus, while on the cross, begins to dream of making love to Mary Magdalene. Father John Vanahan is a...
Okay, they're talking about the movie The Last Temptation of Christ. Horrendous piece.
Oh my Lord.
Catholic priest who says that Catholics and people of other faiths can learn from this movie. Reverend Charles Bergstrom is consultant for the People for the American Way.
All right. I know some of you Protestants love to hate on Catholics, including, and I'm quoting here, the Catholics are going to hell.
Yeah, that's exactly what they sound like.
Well, I was literally imitating someone who said that. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, so basically, this is a priest who deviated. He's a deviant, and he's saying Catholics can learn. So he's a Catholic priest, yes, but he's going against, I'm assuming, I'm not Catholic, I don't know, but I'm assuming he's going against the Catholic Church and saying Catholics can learn from what he's saying. Just wanted to point that out.
He is a Lutheran minister who does support the movie. He says there is nothing blasphemous. Welcome all of my guests to the show.
Father, here's Greek Orthodoxy now, and I think
You know I'm showing this video. Greek Orthodox guy, you know what's going up here. Couldn't help myself.
I have something to say because Kazantzakis was Greek. Unfortunately, well, he based himself on an unfortunate Greek. But what I really don't understand is what are we preaching here today? Nestorianism? Nestorius was the one that was saying the things that you're saying today, Father, right? They're both of you.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, definitely.
No.
Yes,
But
there is
Nestorius-
only one person in Christ.
That's true. There was one person.
That one person in
You're
Christ.
absolutely right.
That one person cannot be internally tempted. The devil dared
How
to
many
tempt
natures in Christ? How many natures in Christ?
There are two
You quoted
natures in
Nestorius.
Christ. There's
You
one
sound like a
hypostasis.
Nestorian. He said there's one and one.
Excuse me, there's one hypostasis. There's one person in Christ.
And how many feces?
There are two feces
That's
in Christ.
right, and one hypostasis.
person. The person is the important part of
This stuff is just really, anyways, beyond my grade scale, if I'm going to be frank. I don't invest too much myself into that, which is quite tragic. I'm quite ashamed of that. The only reason I'm saying this now is just for full disclosure. Actually studied in a theological university in Greece, arguably the best one available in Greece. And I pissed all over it because I didn't think enough of it, which is quite tragic. I could have been a little well-versed in this stuff, even knowing some of the original language. But it was pearls among swine in my case, and I should be ashamed of myself. I am ashamed of myself.
over here.
The natures?
The
divine nature is not
Father,
important?
please let me finish. All right? The devil dared to tempt Christ in the desert. Christ in himself, he was never tempted because he was the person of God. It's heresy what you're preaching. Now, the other thing is really, I don't understand why we've entered into a theological controversy over here. I really don't understand.
Two great points. I should have cut earlier. Let me go back here. So, yeah, I mean, he nails it. Just because someone is being tempted doesn't mean that someone is doing an action, never mind wanting the temptation themselves. It doesn't mean that, they're susceptible to it, succumb to it, or any of that, which is what these guys are arguing. They're postulating that, Christ, the movie came out, and therefore Christ was tempted. In other words, he failed. He had a human weakness in that he could be tempted. That's to say that God incarnate is imperfect. Does it get more blasphemous than that? And they sound just like Muslims, by the way. Do they not? Or militant atheists? But militant atheists don't really care that much about this stuff.
Yeah, I don't like this theologian pedantrics or pedantry, whatever you call it. But it is important to have it, of course. But, we tend to be too much concerned about the details and not about the whole message.
I completely agree.
Yeah. And this is on Oprah.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the next thing he says. And that's, but by the way, the thing you just said, that attitude, like I said, unfortunately, just a word to the wise in general out there. Let me just reiterate this. It was that attitude that when I was, again, in Greece, in one of the best, if not the best theological institutions, completely squandered a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for something that barely anybody gets to do. Pissed it away because I had the wrong attitude. So just to, this stuff is important. And if you have that opportunity to be well grounded in it, for those that are Bible only, look at Titus chapter 1. What does it say about that? Titus chapter 1. But to answer your question, why they're arguing about this on Oprah Winfrey? Well, it's Oprah Winfrey. What else needs to be said there? And that's why I'm showing this. But that's what he says.
The thing is really, I don't understand why we've entered into a theological controversy over here. I really don't understand that. But we should state over here, as far as Christians are concerned, no one has the right to harass my faith.
That's right.
No one has the right to slander my faith. I demand Christians, Orthodox Christians, Catholic Christians, Protestant Christians, demand that their faith is respected. No one has the right to harass our faith.
Amen.
And that film harassed our faith. It slandered our Lord. Amen. As far as we're concerned, our Lord was never tempted in himself. The devil dared to tempt him.
All right. Not again with the commercials. So just for the record, let me just say this. Just for the record, that's exactly why I sound like I do, including the Christian apologists. I'm combating some things that I keep hearing that to me is Christian bashing. And I feel like I need to address that. I address that with them directly. And when that doesn't work, I get fed up. I get over here in my rants and just put things out for the record. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Daniel.
What was? Yeah, is my sound good? Do you get any feedback or some background noise when I'm on?
Not on my end. What about you guys in the audience and chat? Is there any feedback?
I don't think there is any, unfortunately.
Okay, I guess not. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and do this next. Okay. So now we're getting into the clip. This is the color purple, and this is I did the pre-screening, the check, and it's content allowed, so it should be fine. I'm going to play it bit by bit, and fair use and all this, educational, nonprofit, yada yada.
And also, the color purple is, to me, it's quite interesting. It has a lot of symbolism, and when you brought up the cult of Oprah, she seems to like the color purple.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, I got to mention that. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I hate to say it, as you can see, I like the color purple too. It's all over my screen right now, not by accident.
Yeah,
I chose this color.
it's not bad biblically. It's both sin and nobleness, both with. So there's no correct answer, but still.
Well, that's why I chose it. I mean, it's out of my love for God, but again, full disclosure, it also makes me anxious for that very reason, especially the way I sound. I don't want to be representing God and going off and saying things like queer and this and that.
Well,
and the other.
you could say purple is like a blend of red and blue, so it could symbolize the middle way as well.
Politics, yeah, there you go. Well, that's not what I chose. But all right, I'll use that as an excuse.
No, I love the color purple as well. It's my favorite color.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's get into this.
Let's get it on.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Can you guys still hear me? My system just froze up.
Yeah, you're good.
What's it doing this? Okay, give me a minute. Okay, there it goes.
Sophia, that's around now. I'm gonna be together. I declare you it's slower than Christmas. You almost run the house. I thought you said we gonna be
Dear God, Papa be in love with a girl called Sophia. Now she be a big girl.
Another Harpo? Okay, and so just so you'll know, she married young to this older guy, a character that Danny Glover's playing, and I'm saying she as in Whoopi Goldberg's character, and she's super timid. Her character is extremely timid. Of course, Oprah Winfrey's character obviously is the exact opposite of that, and well, we'll get it. I'll let you watch the rest, so you can pretty much follow what's going on from there. She's also doing a narration, a monologue, as if she's praying to God, which kind of rubs me the wrong way. But
yeah, I also noticed that it sounds like she's praying and saying, "Dear God, I'm in love with a woman." So let's hear it.
Then there's that. That's a good point.
Mr. say he want to have a look at her. I see them coming way up the road. They just be marching like going to war.
Paul, this here is Sophia. Sophia, that's a pretty name, huh? Sophia.
It is a pretty name. It means wisdom in Greek.
I was just about to say it. Yeah.
Really? Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
Let's go get married.
Look like you got yourself in trouble.
No, sir, I ain't in no trouble. Big though.
Who the daddy?
Harpo.
How you know that?
He know because he the only one.
That's what she said.
Sealy, give me some lemonade. Young women no good these days. Got their legs open for every Tom, Dick, and Harpo.
Oh, man. Uh-oh. Am I losing you? Lou?
I was saying word.
Word. Yeah. I'm trying not to be mean, but yeah, nailed it.
No need to think I'm gonna let my boy marry you just cause you in the family way. Ain't cold enough. He young and limited. A pretty gal like you can put anything over on him.
What I need to marry Harper for? He living here with you. What food and clothes he get? You buy.
Cause I know your daddy throwed you out, ready to live in the street, I guess.
No, sir. I ain't living in no streets. I'm living with my sister and her husband, and they say I can live with them for the rest of my life if I want to. I don't need you and nobody else to tell me how to take care of myself and my baby. I can take care of my baby all by myself for a nice visit. No, you stay right here, Harper. When you free, me and the baby be waiting.
Man. All right. Should we go ahead and get into some of what's going on already here? I mean, you can see how much of a cuckold he is and how much, I mean, she's obviously wearing the pants, as they say. And now she's making him choose between his father, stability, and her, which, if he's a man, he should be doing what he's supposed to be doing and taking care of her.
When was this movie made?
The 80s, I can't remember which year. Now that you asked it, let's find out. The color purple.
87,
85.
I guess. Oh.
Yeah. All right.
Will look like somebody around here know how to treat a visitor.
Harpo, don't you move one step.
Just don't make me wait too long, Harpo. Harpo? Harpo?
This is kind of funny. I mean, I got to say, when it comes to production value, of course, this movie is really good.
Harpo!
I will. I do.
Yeah.
Now, Sophia.
I think that sequence is brilliant. How they transition from one thing to the other thing like that. I love it.
Yeah, and like
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
her saying Harpo, and then and now the children are also repeating.
Yeah. That was I mean, it's kind of weird that they're yelling that in church, but it's perfect. I mean, I got to say it's perfect.
Yeah, it's
Even
really
though,
good.
Yeah. It's kind of a loophole there. Why would they be yelling that in church? Now to think about it, but it was just brilliant.
And to be your lawful wedded husband, that you will love, honor, and cherish him, and that forsaking all others for him alone, you will perform unto him all the duties that a wife owes to her husband, until God by death shall separate you.
I do.
You may now salute the bride.
Nice.
I know, right? Oy vey. Plot hole. Plot hole is what I keep saying. Loophole instead of plot hole. Yeah. My heart. I don't know. It's just a character, but like I'm bleeding. It's like I'm bleeding. My heart's bleeding for this guy.
Yeah, is it a criticism of society, or are they trying to mock it?
That's a great question.
It seems kind of good. I want to watch this one.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't seen it? Yeah. It's nominated for awards for Oscars. I mean, I don't know if it's won any. It didn't win Best Picture anyway, but it got nominated for a few. So I just don't know what it won. But it's a classic. They did a remake of it not a few years ago. I haven't watched that one. I don't think you could pay me enough. That's another one I won't watch. Awkward.
declare, honey, Mr. Yes, you know I played.
I mean, wow. Not only is the production great, but the writing, man, that's just brilliant. I mean, it's okay. It's a bit unrealistic, a bit exaggerated. It's almost like theater acting, but still, I think it's just brilliant. Like it really um, tells a story in a great way with just a little demonstration that tells everything you need to know.
Yeah, nothing seems out of place.
Mm. Yeah.
Like in the cliches and everything, it's used really, really well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's another good point. Yeah, man. Like that's the other thing. It's not a cliche. It's something very unique that they pulled off without you really noticing. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, hush now, Ruby. Hush now. I've been needing myself some of them curtains, you know. I've been needing some, but ain't had time, been canning all day. Y'all children, get out of this yard. Go on home somewhere. Harpo, come on down here. I need you to hold this baby. That keep yourself busy? I see you busy making a racket. Now come on down here. Now that's Sophia. I come down now. Get ready.
Can I just make a comment on this?
Yeah, please do.
This is really funny because I don't remember the passage in the Bible, but I think it's Proverbs that it's better for a man to live on the roof than with a quarrelsome woman. And now he's on the roof and he falls down.
Wow.
That was really funny. Yeah.
And that might answer your question there. Like, are there? Yeah, maybe they did that intentionally because of that Bible quote. I'm not familiar with that. Yeah, maybe.
Lord, child. Now see, we gonna get your little milk here, baby. Little milk here for the baby. Yes, indeed. Here it is. Go to your daddy now. What you want me to do with it? Try feeding her and then try fixing up this here mess you done made here. I can smell the rain coming. Miss C, got herself some new curtains here. I'm gonna try putting them in the bedroom to see here because the living room's already got itself some flower sets. What you looking at?
It's gonna rain on your head.
Again, this is like standard Hollywood. Just the whole, not only the emasculation, but the children being unruly, dishonoring the parents. That was something that's been pushed a lot by Hollywood through the decades, through generations.
You ever hit her?
No, sir.
I expected of mine. Wise is like children. You have to let them know who got the upper hand. Nothing can do it better than a good sound beat. Sophia thinks too much of herself. Needs to be taken down a peg or two.
And yeah, I mean, this is where it gets, again, like I said, now they're kind of almost building a straw man. They're definitely begging the question, well, you're either a cuckold or you're a wife beater. That's the false dichotomy that they're creating here. And that's why I've got this question scrolling for the past several streams and the themes that we've been doing. It all applies. It all seems to go back to some kind of dichotomy being pushed by mass media and society. And the question is, where is Christ in that dichotomy?
Got a new baby in the house, cry all night long. Baby kept up all night, said he wasn't going to work at all. Then she all upset and crazy about him. I said, girl, leave the man alone. Sometimes men just need to be left alone sometimes. I need some eat. Pies in the pantry, just like women need to be left alone sometimes. That's why I tell Harpo, out here fussing cousin all the time, leave me alone. Ain't you gonna get it for me? Is there something the matter with you? Oh, that's my own baby crying. Lord, make yourself useful, Harpo.
Okay, and well, let's just play it out.
What I'm gonna do about Sophia?
beater.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I got the point now. What you were about to point out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Either
I mean,
you're
yeah,
a wife beater, a tyrant, or you're a cock.
right. Yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely again a false dichotomy. There's nowhere in the Bible that it tells us spare the rod, spoil the wife. That's not a thing at all. So, but that's what the mass media portrayal is, that Christians are somehow wife beaters.
But I like it's the woman that gives him that advice as well. That's I think it's interesting.
Yeah, it is intriguing. And when I was younger, I thought they were sisters for some reason. But yeah, okay. So that's really, this is her mother-in-law. She's married to this young man's father, and so she's telling him. They're both telling him. Both parents are telling him to beat her.
I haven't seen the movie, so yeah.
I'm ruining it for you.
No, you're not. But maybe there's a reason.
All right. So let me play out the rest of it. I've got more clipped out for some reason. Let's see where it goes. Oh yeah, here we go. This is quintessential Oprah. In essence, this is her.
Told Harpo to beat me. It was that mule, Paul. Old Joy, old Joy the mule. I tell you, I was out there trying to plow that Northfield, and the mule just went crazy. He started kicking and bucking, hitting it right there. Bust my eye, bust my lip. All my life I had to fight. I had to fight my daddy. I had to fight my uncles. I had to fight my brothers. Girl, child ain't safe in the family men's. But I ain't never thought I had to fight in my own house. I love Harpo. God knows I do. But I kill him dead before I let him beat me. And that's a hoof print. Did you look at the hoof print there, Paul?
Okay. And so we're talking about man hating to the nth degree. What did she just say? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm so glad that you all the clips that you have shown. It really is. It pertains to what I'm about to say later. So
perfect.
I'll just hint to that. Yeah, continue, please.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I was just gonna say, all right, well, I mean, maybe you'll say it for me, but yeah, basically, she's taken the man hating to the nth degree, and this is Oprah Winfrey's character. This is not her writing it or whatever, but she's playing it well, at any rate. And this is what we're confronted with today. I mean, we've got a bunch of crazed women, conditioned women, again, loosely. I need to come up with a nickname that's not too offensive, because again, it personally offends me to call them women. At any rate, yeah, they're crazed. They're basically being conditioned to want to harm us to critically, right? They want to take us out.
Like movies made in the 30s, 40s, 50s, they were nothing like this, but suddenly, like in the turn of like in the blink of an eye, it suddenly just changed.
Yeah. I haven't made it a study when it changed, but we saw some mid-20th century, let's say, superhero female roles, jungle goddess, the jungle this and jungle that, jungle queen or whatever. Oh, that's a different one. But anyway, and these, even though they were powerful women who had maybe a lead role, lead title, at least their name was in the title. Yeah, but still, I would say we watched 3 of them, and most of those still had a woman that was
feminine.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
She knew her place and all that kind of thing. Yeah. So go ahead.
It's interesting, like in the turn of after World War II, that's when everything changed, kind of the narrative. Yeah. And there's a lot of groups and syndicates, so to say, that may play a role in that. Like it's just funny how it all coincides with that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, just to point out, like I said, these things still existed, but they were, let's say, pockets. They were still influencing society, but not, as you're saying, to the degree that they did when post World War II. Post World War II, it seemed like communism just took over, and that's what the Kennedys were trying to combat. And when they were assassinated, then, well, that was the end of it. To me, that's when we lost the war to BRICS, which was started by Russia.
When who was assassinated?
John Kennedy and his brother.
Yes, yes. Mm.
Bobby. Yeah. All right. I've got a little bit more, but you know where this is going. It's basically about the abuse here, the spousal abuse, and this is something that, I've talked. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's funny because you can see pretty clearly that she's emotionally abusing the man.
Should beat him up. I mean,
yeah, as well. Yeah, but yep.
Yeah, and I've endured this myself, actually, even the physical part, definitely the emotional part, the controlling and all that. I've witnessed it in others. It's more common than we hear about because like we said before, men won't talk about being raped especially by women, which is more common than we talk about. Probably even more so, we won't hear a man talking about how he was beat up by a woman ever.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that later. And also the thing with rape is that as the law sounds like how it's written, at least in Norway, you have to have a penis. You have to like insert it in the vagina for it to be considered rape. So there's no surprise that statistically it's only men that rape, and they will use that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. By definition, it's only in one direction. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can. What's the name for not rape, but what's the name? What's the word?
For little children?
Molesting. Yeah. No, molesting. Like both genders can molest, but rape is penetration in the vagina, and it's just men that can do that because we're the only one having that
penetration. All right, interesting. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, it's different. Like it's not just if there's fingers or an object. That's not the same as a penis either. It's more. It's more. Yeah.
So it's specifically the law states specifically penetration by penis.
Yep.
Wow. That's pretty sadistic, actually. Okay. All right, let me move on to the next thing. Oh goodness. All right, buckle up for this one. Okay, so just so you guys know, I want to share. Let me go and just show it to you real quick. I can't show it to you because in certain countries it's banned, and I don't know what it's going to do to this live stream. So I'm going to wait till the very end, and hopefully, if it's an issue, they'll just allow me to just clip it out. But usually, when things are just banned in certain countries, it's just some people aren't seeing it, can't see it. I know it's Germany, Austria, and a handful of other countries where people cannot see this for some reason. Let me go ahead and show that to you guys now. Actually, now that we're talking about it, where's it at? 1 second. I just want so you guys can see. Oh, come on. Okay, there we go. Content allowed. No, some countries. Okay, here we go. There's the list. Bring it to the stage. I think I gotta stop. I gotta do 1,000 clicks. Can you guys still hear me? I'm freezing up. All right. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, I was frozen up. Could you hear the things I was saying before that?
Yeah, I was just busy.
Okay. Yeah, because on my end it's completely freezing up. So, all right. And anyway, let's go and show you this. All right. Put it on stage. Good gravy. All these clicks. Okay, so you can see all these different countries that I can't show this to. That includes. Oh, that's not it. What's going on here? Oh yeah, it's it. Andorra, Austria, Comoros. I didn't know that was a country. France, French Polynesia, Gambia, Germany, Guadeloupe, Haiti. Oh, okay. Italy. Wow. All right. Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Madagascar, Martinique, Mauritius, Mayotte. There's three countries I never heard of. God, I'm such an American. Monaco, New Caledonia. What? 4 countries. Reunion, 5 countries. Saint Bartholomew, 6 countries. Saint Pierre. All right. Switzerland, Wallis. There's a lot of countries I've never heard of. This is embarrassing. But all those countries, for some reason, they're blocked for this thing that I want to show you guys. I don't know why, but essentially I could show it to everyone else. So I'm just to make sure, I'm going to wait to the end of the stream before I do that. And it's a clip from the movie Precious. It's an award winner that Oprah Winfrey made, but she got a lot of criticism from it, especially from the black community, let's say, and including people like, for example, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Blanchard also complained about it. Said it was a unjust portrayal of black people, and I get it. It is only showing this certain aspect of a certain black culture, and when people watch it, they assume that all black people are like that. So I think that's what the complaint is about. But at any rate, I think it's a good one to watch, and that's why I'm going to show it. It's for certain reasons. We'll get into the whys in a minute. So let me go ahead and share this one again. That's why I was talking about this. I guess I'll change the order. Let me share this right before the clip, actually. Yeah, let me see. Color purple. Okay. Yeah, that's coming up, actually. Family. Yep, okay. Now let me share the link for the statistics about the charts and all that I shared with you earlier. Those are now going in the chat and Rumble as well. And now we're going to take a look at this. All right, give me 1 second. San Diego. This is official NBC site, 1,000 clicks. Let me play this, annoy you guys while we're doing that. Sorry. I can't even find my time code. All right, let me make that bigger. It is bigger. Why does it look like that? All right, let's try this one. That's a little better. Okay. So, no, get out a big screen. All right, so again, sorry for it being grayed out again. I don't accept any cookies. So what we're looking at here is basically Oprah Winfrey's biography. She's calling herself a teen prostitute. She was, well, here we have the drug abuse, the family secrets, all kinds of, let's say, goodies. And I feel dirty doing this, but again, it's important so you'll know who the messenger is, who this person that influenced the masses, even worldwide, who's had such a major impact for the past few decades worldwide, and has played a pivotal role in destroying and wrecking homes. I mean, it can't be overstated, the impact that she has had. And that leads to a lot of the behaviors we see today, the criminal behaviors. These people are, that's why the youth are so easily manipulated and ripe for things like BLM, for example, or these gender changing things that they're doing, the Baphomet culture all around. It's because of the broken home. Okay, and then you actually, I'll just go ahead and share the link so you guys can see it all for yourselves. Let me move on to. I'm getting now close to the end. Before I do that, let's go ahead and have your presentation. You know what? Let me exit out of this. Share the links in the chat here, YouTube and Rumble, for you guys to get a little backdrop on Oprah Winfrey. Oh yeah, and the show solidarity with Islam thing. Anyways, whatever. Okay, I'm going to put your presentation up, Daniel. Again, I haven't had an opportunity to take a look at it, so I'm semi going into this blind.
No problem. Yeah, we're just sharing thoughts here. So if you want to jump in at any time, please do so.
All right.
So I want to just, to look at the attack on the family, and by the way of feminism, how Satan and world governments and NGOs are trying to, weaken the family structure, and how they deceived women, and how all this. This is just my thoughts. I might be wrong, so I would wish that anybody would argue with me if they want to or add something.
So you've got to go ahead.
Yeah, no, please.
So this paragraph here, is that all a quote from Luke 12:53?
Yeah, it says, "The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother, the mother-in-law against the daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law." So we're all getting divided and pitted against each other.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Absolutely.
And on the top, there's a quote from Frankenstein. I think most people have heard about that story. And it was actually written by a woman, Mary Shelley. And feminists will often use her as an idol or something, because they think that she was fighting for women's rights and stuff. And they are partially correct, because she was very critical of, not critical, but she was delving into the human psyche with women and men, and our dichotomies, and how we operate. But she was actually a conservative and traditionalist. So, and in her book it says, "How far is too far?" And I think that that fits very well with where we are today, because according to feminists, there's not a thing that's too far when it comes to equality.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and I also have the book that's on here, Dr. Frankenstein and World Systems. I would encourage anyone to read it. It's not a big book, but it really explains how a system originally set up for good intentions, but as with most systems, to stay alive, it needs to have an enemy. So, like with feminists, without an enemy, feminism wouldn't be. So they kind of have to create problems in order to have support, and that's not on feminism. That's with all systems. So I really encourage people to read that one.
That's intriguing. I never thought of it that way. All right. So kind of like create a problem and then provide the solution for that problem, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And the feminism, LGBTQ, you see how they're like a Frankenstein of different sectionalities. It's abomination of all things.
Okay, I like that. All right, should we go on to the next slide?
Yeah, let's go on. And here we also have the story of Snow White. And The evil queen's actions are driven by her own insecurities and societal pressures. And today, the women have, they think that they are oppressed and are getting insecurities because they feel like less of a man. Like, why should I be a man? I don't know. Maybe it's to, create some kind of enmity. And I put, it says cloak and dagger. It was a fighting style in the Renaissance where they used a cloak as a kind of shield or to hide the daggers. And that's how I think that this group operates. They hide with good intention, like the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
They're crafty, yeah. They're covert. Yeah, that's a great point. I like that. I like that analogy. Cloak and dagger. Nailed it. No pun intended.
If you go to the next one.
All right.
And here we see the hag or Satan is tempting Snow White. And she plays on Snow White's empathy to buy the apple. And that's how most women, they are very empathetic. And that's how they are exploited. So the hag or the witch or queen hides as a witch and provides her with apple. And I also have like some comparison with Adam and Eve, where the serpent, tempts Eve with a desire for knowledge and as being equal with God. As the serpent said, you shall be as gods. And
I hate to say, I never draw that comparison. That's a brilliant point. It's a very good point. All right.
So,
Genesis 3:6. All right.
Yeah. Genesis 3:6. When a woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. Now, in the story of Snow White, we all know that she fell into a deep slumber. And
like being on the internet. Sorry.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. The apple can be a lot of things. The main thing is that on a spiritual level, it will corrupt you, and it will change your outlook and perception of what is right and wrong, and that is the separation from God. Like when Eve ate the apple, like the sin wasn't to know good and evil. It wasn't eating the apple. It was straying away from the will of God. So she has the freedom to choose to do his will or not do his will. And that's the sin. We are all, that's the fundamental, the essence of sin. So many people, they like to say, well, Satan's a good guy because he gave human freedom. But that's not entirely true. It's more like deceiving you into thinking that you are free, and instead of doing God's will. Because by the power of God, you can do all things.
Amen.
Or you can decide to be all alone with only yourself, and that's a narrative that. And the consequence that we see with a lot of women, they are barren, alone, and now they are stuck in, with themselves.
Can definitely relate. Yep. And you nailed it yet again. Very good. All right, Serge, go on. Next one.
Yep. For behold, the days are coming in which they shall say, blessed are the barren and the wombs that never bear, and the paps, which are the boobs which never gave suck. And this is where we are. If you look at the picture, like the woman has now fallen into a slumber. She can not nurture her, the men. They are, she's good for nothing now.
Yeah, there's another verse, Matthew 24, that warns during the end of times. Warns actually, woe unto those who give suck, who are nursing during these times of major catastrophe. So it's a
Yeah,
bit of a
that's a
juxtaposition. Sorry, go ahead.
good point. Good point. Yeah, because they are almost. It's not looked good upon by others if you if you decide to be a stay-at-home mother. Yeah, they kind of paint you like an oppressor now if you decide to be a mother. Motherhood is like
Right.
demonized now.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to put that out there because, I mean, like I said, one of the things that pains me about my life is the fact that in addition to all the mess ups that I had, was the fact that I never had that family, or at least not the way I envisioned it. But I now almost consider that a blessing in that if I had children, even if I were financially comfortable, which is very hard to do these days, at any rate, let's say I would still be concerned because the world is still in such chaos. I would still be concerned about my children. It would be much more difficult all around because of that. So I don't want to say not having children is a blessing, but given the circumstances, let's just say I'll take it. I just feel I'll take it. It just so happens that it may not be the worst thing in the world at this point. But that being said, I'm not trying to discourage people from having children. I do believe, and again, I shouldn't be saying this is only my opinion. Please correct me if I'm wrong. For those that are much more well versed in Scripture and the faith, but from what I understand, there will be people that will survive. But maybe that's just me hearing someone say something and then just trying to be, as we say these days, positive. I don't know, but I just don't want to discourage people from having children just because of what I'm saying here.
Of course not. No, I share your sentiment. I also want a family, but those are fleshly desires as well. Well, it's spiritual, but we have to remember, like Jesus said, like my brother and my mother is those who do my Father's will, and I think you have a family and you are doing your you're in a
You
good
too, Con.
place. Thanks.
Bless your heart.
God bless you.
Thank you. You too.
So
man.
let's continue.
All right.
And as we all know, Snow White's story ends with her awakening and restoration, often through intervention of a prince or love. So I just want to draw like the comparison between Jesus and the prince in the story. The prince has in the new interpretation of the stories, the prince doesn't have any pivotal role. So just keep that in mind, people. Just want to notice people about that.
I was going to have another toy set up, and I thought I might need it and do it, but I forgot to do it. But let me see if I can get it right. Give me one moment here because I want to get this right. I apologize for not being better prepared. I'm killing the moment here. I'm messing up your presentation. Oh, no.
I forgive you.
Thank you. You're too kind. All right, let me see if I got this right. I've completely killed this. I built it up on top of that. All right. Yeah.
Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. But it's a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird. Super weird. So we didn't do that this time.
Okay.
Nice.
9-day difference, right?
Jesus is a stalker.
Lord have mercy. Yeah.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. That was gold. I'm gonna use that.
I was actually going to use that as a meme, as one of my video memes, but I forgot to set that up. But all right, it worked out kind of, sort of. It worked out.
Yeah.
All right, so we go to the next one.
Yes, please. So women to pass genes needed to stay alive long term to care for offspring. That's what a woman is. So just to answer that question. And this is not mine. This is a presentation from a woman. I'm sorry, I don't have her name. I should provide that, but forgive me. So they avoided what they benefited from was avoiding risks, befriending highly trustworthy and equal status others, and high concern for protecting vulnerable others. So what differentiates men from women is that women, they are super, very in tune with other people. Like they need the protection of others. So they need to band with other women that agree with them. Like we have all seen examples of that in our own lives, I would assume. That they are often like, they all always look the same, behave the same, talk the same. Like, and if you have disagreements, there's no room for you know, disconsenting arguments or
But I thought they were, you know, doing this personal journey within themselves. You know, they're all individuals and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the hypocrisy we have.
A lie, the big deception.
Yep.
Not to mention misguidance. I mean, again, the whole idea of going out of your way to be stuck in your own head is just, I don't understand why they can't see through that.
I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Of course, it's only natural and it's a good thing. But
Well, you mean,
there's a balance to be had.
well, I mean, yeah, introspection of self-awareness is what you're referring to.
Yeah, perhaps, but I think maybe they have co-opted men to also adopt that doctrines, and that's not from men, but maybe principalities in higher power. Let's see.
No, absolutely,
So,
and again, a lot of that is actually, like I said, fueled by this whole Buddhist movement. Like everyone's a Buddhist now, or yogi, and you're doing all this meditation and like, you know, deep spiritual journey inside. This is literally what they're describing. But again, this is problematic. This is a worship of the self on a spiritual level, and it's extremely alarming.
Yep, and that's the thing with women. Like they have to be very, very self-preserving in order to take care of a child. So I think that's why their tendencies leans more towards, you know, taking care of themselves. While men, they have to sacrifice themselves. Like Jesus said, like love your wives and give your life for them, just as I gave my life for the church. And nowhere in the Bible, as I know, does it say that women should love men, but they should submit. I think there's a reason for that.
Okay. Yeah, great.
People who can ponder about that themselves. But let's continue.
All right.
The consequences are, of course, increased equity over merit-based hierarchy. So does that sound familiar?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds very liberal to me, actually.
Yeah. Increased harm avoidance and increased ostracism. So we can go to the next slide. I will talk more about that. Here's this is a survey from 2017 from 2,300 U.S. adults. It's not a big cohort or sample, but still, they asked. I think it was students, and the results were. Wait, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, okay. And the results were that a majority of men colleagues should not protect students from offensive ideas. They supported controversial speakers. They should not disinvite speakers if students threaten violent protests. Oppose confidential reporting system for offensive comments. While the women a majority of them hold the opposite views. They think that dissenting voices and threat that can be perceived as threats, they should not be heard. So that pertains to like how women, they have to befriend like equal status others and avoid risk. They want to be with people that have the same. They don't have like the cooperation. Men often like they can discuss, they can talk, they can disagree.
Yeah.
But they find a way to cooperate nonetheless, while women see that more as a threat. And the next study, sorry.
Yeah, I just want to point out that these are recent studies, this is a good thing. That's what we want. We want recent studies according to academia. But I also want to point out this may also be a reflection of more modern society, arguably. Maybe not. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that possibly if you did this kind of research on a society, let's say mid 20th century, early 20th century, 19th century, you might get different results. I don't know that, but possibly.
Possibly, yeah. Okay, so we can go further. Here we have some slogans made by feminists. I think most of them we are familiar with. The future is female. I am a woman, hear me roar. We should all be feminists. Feminism is for everybody. And believe women, break the so-called glass ceiling. My body, my choice, free the pill or free the nipple. We can do it, like we talked about, Roxanne the Riveter from the Second World War. And the personal is political.
Roxanne the Riveter. I'm sorry. I'm glad you brought that one up because that's one of my favorites, and that's actually so communist in essence. How people overlook that, I don't know.
So we can see how they want to include everybody, but it's kind of, but they say everybody should be feminists, and the future is female. How is that diversity?
Right.
The hypocrisy is unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. And I think again this is just on the verge of conspiracy theory, but to me it's either Christian or anti-Christian, and it just feels like it's going toward that Baphomet culture, where everyone has a vagina. I think that's what the bottom line is here.
Yeah, I wanted to touch more into the feminist and the Satanism, but I didn't have time for that. But you can feel the current, the underwater current that we're trying to make.
Well put. Current, yeah, well put. Yeah, I did the same. I mean, I included it as a slide, but I didn't go into any details about it because it's just it's quite the conversation.
Yeah, it can save it for another time. It's a big topic.
Yeah. All right, so we go next one.
Yeah, please. Now here we have something called setting up to fail. It's a phrase denoting a no-win situation, designed in such a way that the person in the situation cannot succeed at the task which they have been assigned. I'm just mentioning it. I'm not going to try to debate it. I just want to plant the seed in the minds. So an example of that is in a family where the parents need to assert themselves as powerful figures or caretakers, often due to their own insecurities. They may designate one or more of their children as being inadequate. In Dibs, in search of, sorry.
Yeah, I'm agreeing here. I've know people like this actually. So.
In Dibs, in Search of Self, an account of a child therapy, Virginia Axline considered that perhaps the parents, quite unconsciously, chose to see Dibs as a mental defective rather than an intensified personification of their own emotional and social inadequacy.
You know,
so
and
that
actually,
reminds.
Go ahead.
That reminds on the second slide when I talked about the evil queen, when she saw the mirror on the wall. Tell me who's the most prettiest of them all. You know, it reminded her that of her own insecurities, and that's what drives all of these things. And people have a tendency to project their own insecurities,
yes,
and then make and as women, like, they often use, I would say, weaponized empathy. They will use they will paint others as victims so they can morally elevate themselves.
Yes, nailed it. Yeah, and it's interesting. We have both character types in that sequence that I want to share from Precious, Oprah Winfrey's movie, which we'll do at the end.
Yeah.
So this will really illustrate what you're talking about, what you're describing here.
And now we have, let me say this quote first. There must be some people who behave in the wrong way. They act as scapegoats and objects of interest for the normal ones. Scapegoating is, as a group, necessitates that in-group members settle on one specific target to blame for their problems. And who's the enemy to feminists, or the enemy in society in general?
Christ?
Well,
I mean, way to get cut to the chase.
Yep. So you can go to the next slide, and this is quite interesting, actually.
All right. Oh, yeah, I'd say so.
I don't know if you're familiar with Lady
Yes.
Godiva.
I mean,
Yeah.
she's all over mass media, so can't miss it.
Yeah, she's quite popular with the feminists, especially those interested in spirituality. And she's seen as a symbol of self-sacrifice and all that. But yeah. So maybe I can read the story. Do we have time?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Long ago in the 11th century, in the town of Coventry in England, was under the rule of Leofric, the Earl of Mercia. His wife, Lady Godiva, was a kind and compassionate woman, deeply loved by the people for her generosity and concern for their well-being. However, the townsfolk suffered under the heavy taxes imposed by Leofric, which left them in poverty and despair. Lady Godiva, moved by their plight, pleaded with her husband to reduce the burdensome taxes. Leofric, though fond of his wife, was stubborn and dismissive of her requests. Growing frustrated with her persistence, he finally declared, "I will lower the taxes if you ride naked through the streets of Coventry." He believed this outrageous challenge would silence her, as no noble woman would ever consider such a scandalous act. But to his astonishment, Lady Godiva agreed. Her love for the people outweighed her fear of humiliation. Before her ride, Lady Godiva sent messengers through the town, instructing all citizens to stay indoors and shutter their windows. On the appointed day, she let down her long hair, which cascaded like a golden cloak, and mounted her horse. With dignity and resolve, she rode through the silent streets, her modesty preserved by her flowing locks and the obedience of the townsfolk. One man, however, could not resist the temptation to peek. This man, later known as Peeping Tom, dared to look through the cracks in his shutters. According to the legend, he was instantly struck blind as punishment for his voyeurism. When Lady Godiva returned to the castle, Leo Frick was both shocked and impressed by her courage and selflessness. True to his word, he lowered the taxes, bringing relief to the people of Coventry, and they lived happily ever after.
Well, I got one thing to say to that.
Who could it be? Who could it be? I just can't imagine who. Could it be Satan?
Yeah.
That's actually the character from Saturday Night Live called the Church Lady. And that's David Spade, pretty much being a tranny there, cross-dressing, doing the Church Lady. Yet again, another example of how men are doing women better than women. Anyways,
I find this story very, very interesting. It has a lot of connotations. Like Leo Frick is supposedly this bad man, oppressing his people, and this like selfless, loving, caring woman who doesn't know anything about ruling or taxes or anything. She thinks she she rides the horse and saves the people. It's strange.
Like this character.
Oh, kiss my grits.
And I want to also highlight, like, the horse can also symbolize a Trojan horse in this instance.
Wow, that's a powerful statement.
And the Coventry, that word for the name of the town, it's very similar to covet, to covet something or someone, or a coven, like a witch coven, or a covenant. I don't think that's
interesting. I didn't even catch that. Wow.
I also find it funny how she expects people not to look at her. Like she parades naked through the streets, and she closes off the whole town. So the people of town now, they can't buy, they can't sell, they can't barter, they can't do business, they can't do anything. No. They must stay at home and shut their don't look. Like, is this some kind of sleight of hand? Like, what is this? Why can't you look here?
Well, I find it very much like a number of things, but especially Allah, where again, the greatest of deceivers, he does all these things you just described, including deceive people, and if they get fooled, it's their fault. So she's running around naked, but if anybody looks, it's their fault.
Exactly. Yeah, does it remind you of something? A parade or a fanfare? What's the name? Pride. Pride. Yeah.
Well, Pride, I don't know. Does it? I mean, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with Pride, so they can have it.
Yeah.
I'm not tempted with that there, but But yeah, I mean, yeah. Thanks for sharing that, man. This is brilliant stuff. Really appreciate this. Should we keep going?
I also want to point out, like, Godiva means it's a feminine. It's Latin, and it's the feminine for divine or God.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I was hoping
Godiva it's God and diva.
Wow. Oy vey. Oh no, that's just wrong. Oh Lord. All right. Good to know.
Yeah, so we can continue to the next slide now. So what's the moral of the story? Well, if you want your way, you just have to parade naked in the streets and yell loudly, or, well, not yell, but...
Interesting.
Yeah, just...
Good. Brilliant. All right.
Okay, here we have a Norwegian. This is from, what date is this? This is pretty new. I'm going to share, like, a I'm gonna share this document to you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 1,000 clicks, as you say. This is the Norwegian, those that are responsible for the roads and vehicles.
Mm.
And they are trying to be well, it's a state agency, so they follow, of course, the Agenda 2030 UN agenda, you know. So I'm gonna get into that, but I just want to share this link because this is in Norwegian. So if you follow the link on in the chat, maybe you can.
Okay. Oh, it's like in the private chat. Let me do this time killer while you're doing all that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I guess that was a bad timing for that. Did you share the link in the main chat or in the private chat?
In the main chat. It's a Google document, so you have to have Google.
I don't think it went through. Like you have to have like.
Well, no worries. I can. Yeah, don't think about it. I can.
Well, can you share in the private chat and I can share
it? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's actually a little important, so I should do that. Well, this is. Let me see. I need a StreamYard link. Here it is.
Bing! Bing again! Bing! Bing!
I heard a bing, but I don't see anything.
It's in private chat now.
Okay, I got it. All right.
But before you go there, I just want to read what's on the slide here now.
Okay, go for it.
So this is the equality plan, as you can see, and the symbol, you see that number 5. That's straight out of Agenda 2030, the UN agenda.
Okay.
And here it says on the right, they're talking about equality in terms of pay, equal pay. And it says this is just in that agency. So let's just make that clear. I don't want to be spread falsehoods. In 2020, the salary was equal, and in 2021, women have surpassed men in terms of salary in that agency.
Oof. Okay.
And that's nothing wrong with that, I suppose.
Actually, there's plenty wrong. Let me let me interject here. So the problem, and I mentioned this earlier, and this is a comic dynamic, including in the 21st century where we're supposed to be all different now, allegedly, and all that. The problem is that a woman expects a man to be, in some ways, better than her, especially in finances. He's got to be more accomplished. He's got to have more money. Otherwise, she will not respect him. And if she's lost respect for him, how can she love him? How can he have love without respect? So
yeah, that's why Jesus commands women to submit to the men, not love them. Women's love is not well. Any human don't know what real love is, but I don't think women can love like a man can do, and that's why they're told to be submit. Well, it's a form of love, of course.
Yeah, I don't know, but let's just yeah, I don't know if I completely agree with that, but
no, but please tell me what you think.
Well, I think when we're talking about love, yeah, I would love to. I like the Bible, the way it defines love. I think that's great, first of all. But when it comes to, you're talking about roles and the roles we play and the expectations we have of each other because of those roles, and how that plays into how our love is formed or defined. And so I would argue that women maybe love, but express that love in different ways than we do. For us, as you said before, it's to be willing to lay our lives down for the other. But for the woman, it's to, as you said, humble themselves for us, to put themselves in a place of servitude. I mean, again, and maybe that's not putting it in the right way, because the man is also serving the woman in essence, but they're taking a role where it's not as glamorous. But then again, I don't think that's probably not even stating it the right way, because really, I mean, I think what I'm saying now is really mass media conditioning. I got to correct myself here, because I would imagine, as you know, the woman has always been the backbone of the family. Again, this whole argument with my big fat Greek wedding. Oh, the woman is the head of the body, and this and that. No, the man is the head. The woman is the backbone. This is my analogy. This is my understanding. The woman runs the household. She's without the woman, there is no household. So she is, the backbone of the family unit. But it's up to a man who tends to be less emotional and therefore more rational, can, as you said, have those arguments without feeling inferior or having to fight or lash out. It's up to him to make these rational decisions and of course protect the family. So I don't know. I'm rambling here. I feel like I'm waffling with I'm intending to, but to answer your question, I don't think it's that women are incapable of love, but they're just that manifests itself in a different way, is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you. That was perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to not to hear, but I'm playing the bad cop here, so it's good that you're being the good cop here. So you have different, explanations.
Good. Okay. Cool.
Okay, so we can go to the next slide before we jump to the document.
All right.
This is today on Women's Day, and this is the road director. Goes out in all the major newspaper, and she asks women to drive because women. Okay, this is the title. Road director asks women to drive more dangerous with men. And
I heard this before. Sorry.
And under the picture it says, "Warning to men. Road director Ingrid Dahl Haaland encourages women to take the wheel when the family is on a trip."
Well, this might be, I don't know, if this was the United States, statistically speaking, not only women, but Asian women are the most dangerous on the road. That's according to statistics. Scientific fact.
They provided statistics, but it wasn't nuanced. They only told that most men drive and they're in most accidents, but they didn't correlate that with how many hours on the road.
Interesting.
And now I want you to go to the document on Google Drive.
Okay. Oh, you want me to pull that up?
Yeah, please.
Oh, my apologies. I didn't. Let me go to it here. Okay.
So,
oops. Oh, I got to remove
this. This is from the directory of the road department, the transport department or something.
All right.
And they have, of course, signed their allegiance to the UN agenda. And I'm just gonna summarize what they have agreed to do.
Okay, there we go. Sorry. Sorry, my computer froze up, whacked out. All right, so it should be on the screen now. Can you see it?
Yep. If you go down to where there's a markup, there's some yellow markings. I believe it should be. Yeah, there it is. Okay, what does it say there? Okay, this is in Norwegian. It's too bad you can't see the commentaries. I don't know why you can't. Why can't you see it? Okay, I can say it. So under on 5.3, if you can mark 5.3 for me.
Okay.
Yep. It says that we should abolish all harmful practices such as child early and forced marriage and female genital mutilation. I think that's funny because in Norway our taxes go to mutilation of boy mutilation. So
but
it's only female.
Is this prohibiting it or enforcing it?
Yeah, no, only to women. Only girl childs.
Well,
we send $100 million, $10 million to Africa each year to combat mutilation of girls. But in Norway, taxpayers pay for boys to be mutilated. So it's just hypocrisy again.
It is disturbing. Yeah, it's just really weird.
And on the 5.4, it says, well, I didn't have that. Let's go to 5.5. 5.5.
Okay.
Ensure women's full and effective participation and equal opportunities in leadership positions at all levels of decision making in political, economic, and public life. And on 5.6, ensure access to good sexual and reproductive health, reproductive rights for all, in accordance with the Program of Action of the International Conference of Population and Development, the Beijing Platform for Action and the Outcome document of the respective review conferences. I don't know why Beijing has something to do with it, but okay. And on 5A, it says
BRICS taking over?
Sorry?
BRICS is taking over?
Yeah, perhaps. And on 5.5, it says blah, 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 blah. Strengthen position of women in society. There's a lot of women here. And on 5C, it says adopt and strengthen sound policies and enact enforceable legislation to promote gender equality and empower girls and women at all levels of society. So there are a lot of women. There's, a lot of focus on women.
It's diversity.
Yeah.
Equality.
Well, the thing with Norwegian law, under equality law, it says under the paragraph, it says that it's especially, we should especially strengthen women. So,
okay.
Yeah, so you can go back to the presentation now. There's more. If you go to the next slide here. This is 3 days ago, and this is the minister of a family, the societal mission about including children and youth, and we have appointed $1.7 million towards including them in education, or brainwashing, as I call it. That's not what they said, but that's just my wording. And work and social life. So we have a societal mission now that's about including children and youth. And this, now we're going to the bread and butter of what I'm trying to get to. So just.
So we haven't even got to the major plot point, huh? Okay.
Yeah, this is the major plot line here. So if you
All
go
right.
to the next slide. So here's the cloak and dagger. What shall I say? Yeah. Do this? Does this logos see? Is it familiar?
Very.
It seems kind of the same, doesn't it? All circles and a lot of colors. Yeah. So I believe, this is just my belief. I believe that these are a cabal that operates in the shadow, concealing their true identities and intentions. We have to remember that none of these are elected. Like, these are not elected officials. None of these are. Maybe except G7, but we can, yeah. So they use aliases, front organization, and intermediates to carry out their plans. Their actions are often disguised as legitimate activities such as philanthropy, business ventures, or political initiatives. This allows them to influence events without drawing attention to their real agenda. The cabal controls the flow of information, using propaganda, misinformation, and censorship to shape public perception and maintain their power. So we go
Let
to
me
the
ask
next
you.
one. Yeah, sure.
For the G7 logo, why do they have Germany twice?
What do you mean? Do you mean the European flag in Germany?
Yeah.
Well,
What up,
everything starts there.
All right.
Okay, so this is the dagger of this method, or kind of way. So they undermine existing systems, economic, political, social, to create dependencies or vulnerabilities that they can exploit. They place members or allies in key positions within governments, corporation, media, and other influential institutions. This allows them to steer decisions and policies from within. They capitalize on crises, economic collapses, wars, pandemics, to push their agenda. Yeah. So I don't know if that's fits home anywhere, but that's just that's food for thought.
Yeah, definitely.
And,
I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
No, continue.
Just the whole depopulation agenda, like the whole Georgia Guidestones, which nobody ever talks about anymore.
Yeah, I considered maybe including it, but I was fearing maybe that's too conspiratorial.
Well, it was written in stone, but all right. Yeah.
Okay, so we can go to the next one.
All right.
And the next one. Okay, here we are. I'm not. Have you heard about the Club of Rome?
No, first time I've heard of it, to be honest with you.
Well, after World War II, it's a gathering of very influential people, just like all the others. They're very elite. Not many people have heard of them. I would. You should research them. They're all about the degrowth. Have you heard about the degrowth movement or theory?
No.
Well, today we are told that we can't continue the way we are, that we are destroying the planet, and that we should, minimize all our energies and all that stuff. It all stems from these people. So if you research the peoples and what they have written, it's very clear. They say it out loud what their goals are, and this is from the 1970s already.
Wow.
And more on that later. And here I have this is from Proverbs 22 in the New King James Version. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. And here it says in the Roma youth participation, it says the key element related to participation are the young people claiming the right to participate and engage with the city government to acknowledge their right. They also should have a space to participate through a building run by the organization and through contact points contributed by the city government. So it seems like they want to include children here in the decision making.
For sure.
And you can go next slide.
How dare you!
So this is from the chapter 5 of the UN, from the Agenda 2030. Everybody should read that. This is from chapter 5. It has all to do with equality. But this is, you can read it on their websites, and this is just some points. I don't know if I should go through all of them, but they want to make youth, include youth in all social, they want to spread awareness, use youth to spread awareness. They want to establish a task force that regularly reviews and evaluates business environments. They want to include all aspects of sustainable development in school curricula, starting at the primary level. Create in-person or online mentoring systems. Establish a financial history early on that will help young people develop credit worthiness.
Oh, Lord.
Explore how various Islamic financing instruments can help young social entrepreneurs.
Did I just hear that correctly? What?
Yeah, you did. Islamic financing instruments. This is
What
in
is
their
that?
document.
Bachi?
Well, all of this is pretty open for interpretation. They're very vague with the wording.
Yeah.
And I want to raise awareness of the 2030 agenda. No surprise. So why do they want to use young people? When you look at how... Yeah, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you actually... No, go ahead, please. I don't want to interrupt.
No, I want to hear your talk.
No, yeah, because they're malleable. They're easier to manipulate, but they're also honest. You can get all kinds of information out of them. They're very useful.
Exactly. So if you can go to the document that I provided, the other one.
In the Google Drive, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh-oh. Wait 1 second.
So I believe it was in October or November last year, the Club of Rome, they are a partner with the St. Gallen Symposium. And as you can read, intergenerational leadership for sustainable development. And if we can go a little down, I'll just read what is marked here.
All right. Yeah, I just lost connection. I think I know what's going on now. There must be storming outside. I don't even know it. So my connection is bad. Do you want me to scroll down because I missed the last part of what you...
Scroll down to the yellow markups.
Okay.
So if people want to read it, just Google this and they can read the whole thing. I can't. Is it frozen on your part?
Oh, well, on my end it's showing up that it's to the highlighted part, but on yours there's nothing I can do at this point.
Okay.
Because if I refresh, then that would end the stream.
Okay, no worries. I can just read the main.
Let me. You want me to read the yellow part that I'm seeing?
Yes, please.
Okay. How meaningful?
This is from the St. Gallen Symposium that I just had. Anybody can Google it and read it. I highly encourage it. So please read it.
Okay. So yeah, the first highlighted part is how meaningful youth engagement and intergenerational leadership can help transform organizations and policy institutions. Policy institutions. All right. I wonder what that means. All right. You want me to go down to the next one?
Yeah, please.
All right. All corporations and public bodies set a goal for gender equality in leadership positions as soon as possible, and certainly by 2030. Oh boy.
Yeah, by 2030. It all seems to add up to 2030. All these things going on.
And gender equality would basically means no men.
Yeah.
Fight this patriarchal mindset. There you go.
Yeah, did you see it? Fight this patriarchal mindset.
Yeah.
Well, this is another one. What you just wrote, this isn't from that one. This is from the Club of Rome, which was released on March 7. So this was on Women's Day also in 2023. And the article's name is For Humanity and the Planet to Thrive. We need to empower and push women back. Yeah, whatever.
Okay. Is that showing up on your end now or not?
I'm gonna. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But I'm giving them the link.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead.
Yeah. Did you read that all corporation and public bodies set a goal for gender equality in leadership? Yeah, you
Yes.
said that. Yeah, and fight patriarchal mindsets.
Yeah. All right. So the next one under the heading you mentioned, for humanity and the planet to thrive, we need to empower. The next highlighted part starts with polycrisis.
Yeah, you can read that as well.
All right. A term originally coined by French philosopher and socialist Edgar Morin in his 1993 book, Terra Patrie, describes a complex situation where multiple interconnected crises converge and amplify each other, resulting in a predicament that is difficult to manage or resolve. Wow. That's very much what you were saying earlier, and then some.
Yeah, it pertains to how the cabal is using crisis to further their capitalize on crisis, collapses, wars, pandemics to push their agendas.
Yeah. And for the record, I still don't know what the cabal is. I still haven't looked that one up yet.
No, and that's just my my word for it. The cabal for me is all these different United Nations, World Health Organization, World Economic Forum. It's all the same.
Okay.
And if you go down, there's a woman called Manfella Rampheel.
Past the highlighted parts, or before the
Yeah.
highlight? Okay. Yep, I see her. Okay.
No, she's a former managing director of the World Bank.
No kidding.
That's a pretty prestigious rank, right?
Yeah, I mean,
And she's
black people and women are oppressed. So explain that one.
Right. She's the co-founder of Reimagine SA and was voted co-president of the Club of Rome, which I just talked about.
Wow. Well,
so she's both the former managing director of World Bank and co-president of the Club of Rome. So do you see how all this is interconnected? She also she got the National Order of the Legion of Honor of the country of France. And she has written quite a few books. she's all about decolonizing and reimagining identity and power. It's all this vocable, this stuff. And if you could, yeah.
No, just the whole Masonic symbolism here. Just we just saw a picture in my presentation with Oprah Winfrey being donned one of these things or something similar to it by Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah, and above her picture, there's some excerpts that she has written. So if you want to read the highlighted parts.
All right. Men prematurely separated from home and family, from love and touch, they must speedily reinvent themselves as self-reliant pseudo-adults. Self-reliant pseudo-adults? Self-reliant children? Wow. Paradoxically, they then struggle to properly mature, since a child who was not allowed to grow up organically gets stranded, as it were, inside them. And oh my goodness. In consequence, an abandoned child complex within such adults ends up running the show. So she's not even talking about a midlife crisis. She's basically calling men children with serious complexes that are running amok.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Men who are not adequately prepared for a world of equality, whatever that's supposed to mean, between men and women drives many to substance abuse. No, that's not what drives them to substance abuse. And brutally violent language and social relationships. I would say mass media drives them to both, including these kinds of perverted social abnormalities that drives them crazy, that makes them depressed, and makes them not want to go home, and do substance abuse. Not to mention the insane indentured servitude, the insane amount of work that they have to put in, and then they go home and they have to listen to a woman who has everything, but still bitching and blaming him for all the problems, that some of which don't even exist. They're just fabricated. That's what drives them to drugs.
Yep. So if you can go to the look away from the next markups, just go to the text above her head. If you can read that, the whole paragraph, not only the markup, but the whole.
All right. Raising the level of human consciousness is critical. The good news is that the imperatives of the 21st century and the fourth industrial revolution are turning our attention back to the importance of emotional intelligence. Now, there's a kicker. That's like a swift kick in the nuts right there. I mean, the mass media swift kick in the nuts. That statement.
Yeah, let me remind the viewers that this is her words. This is the former president of the World Bank, director of World Bank, and the co-president of the Club of Rome. Just want to remind people of that.
All right. All right. As artificial intelligence drives automation, I'm trying to warn people, including in our circles, stop promoting AI, at least stop promoting it. All right, sorry, enough tangents. And complex machine operations, there is a greater realization of the importance of the traits that enable better communication, collaboration, and empathy.
Empathy. There we have it again.
Yeah. Right. Except for men.
Yeah. Now, we're getting to the next words. Okay.
These traits foster teamwork that enhances creativity and even greater innovation. These increasingly desirable traits favor the feminine and human qualities. Women leaders need to be bolder in leading with a greater woman touch, like we saw with Oprah Winfrey's character, for which they have a natural flair. Wow, no pun intended. As women, we have to be bolder in encouraging our brothers, probably literally, because we'll all have that sister, sons and grandsons to open themselves to the feminine in them, oy vey, to
Did
make
you
them
hear
clear.
that?
Yes,
The
to make them
feminine
clear.
in them. Hmm.
Or maybe they mean, strap on. Sorry, audience. I don't know. Maybe they mean that too. Oh Lord, sorry, I couldn't resist. All right, so going on to the highlighted part. The future belongs to those who have high emotional intelligence that is characterized by traits historically associated with the feminine.
The future is female, didn't they say that?
Man, there was a clip that's perfect from this, from As Good as It Gets, and I failed to have it ready. Ugh.
Yeah, we can make something later.
All right. But that would have been perfect for this moment. Yeah, and I was going to do it, and I failed. Another one I forgot. My apologies. All right. We should actively resist the temptations of masculine styles of leadership in order to fit into the current establishment. The future of leadership is feminine. We've already said that. What is this? Communism? You're drilling it in our heads? Oh, good gravy. This is the new normal, the new norm. Where do we hear that one before? The new norm. This is what I keep saying. It's not just for the lockdown people. The new norm applies all across the Baphomet paradigm here. This is the new normal as we prepare for the 22nd century. Wow. Boom, there it is. Mic drop.
Mic drop, yeah. That was beautiful. Yeah, no, this isn't like, this is from their own mouth. They're telling us.
Yeah, and again, my approach, as you know, has been from taking their products, mass media conditioning, and using inductive reasoning, which we're not allowed to do in academia, and come to my conclusion, which is what she's spelling out here. I've been warning people about these things because of doing that. They've been conditioning us to make this a new norm already subconsciously and in our culture. Sorry, I'm going off on a rant. It's just frustrating to now read this stuff, to have it definitively spelt out. That's exactly what they're doing. It's infuriating.
Yeah. You can go back to the presentation. I will be quick. There's not much more to say.
All right.
So next slide. Fait accompli is a French phrase commonly used to describe an action that is completed before those affected by it are in a position to query or reverse it. And I just made a few examples, like the wars that we've been seeing. Nobody voted for that. The ACER deal, which is very hot topic in Norway. Yeah, and the immigration crisis, nobody voted for this, and we are too late to do anything about it, it seems.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that the children are going to get paid the Islamic way.
And what is that? Islamic
The
way?
kids are going to be all right. This is 72 virgins and Jana.
Oh, right. Yeah. The 72 goats.
Yeah. 72 kids. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm sorry, I'm being silly. I'm just trying to lighten up the mood. I'm just I'm having a meltdown right now just after reading that. It's just seeing my worst, not my worst nightmare, but it's actually, but it's just really bad to see it in black and white. Definitively, that is in fact what they're doing.
Yeah, the truth hurts.
All right, next one.
Next one. So this is a member of the Sustainable Leadership. He wrote the book, one of the co-authors to The Limits of Growth. This is from the 1970s. It has been released, or what do we call it? Yeah, released by the Club of Rome. He's a member there, or was. I don't know if it's anymore. And he also has full member of the Club of Rome, a company director, blah, 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 blah.
He looks like
Well,
Burns from The Simpsons.
yeah, when you say it, yeah, it does. So this has been an agenda for a long, long time. They want to limit growth, and we can see that today. So if people want to know more, it's all out there. So I want to talk about the next slide here. There's something called the Abilene paradox. The first component of the Abilene paradox refers to the mutual agreement of a group that the current situation is not acceptable. However, on the individual level, the members may be satisfied with the existing setting after they have been compared with the proposed alternatives. The second component stands for ineffective communication within a group wherein several members express considerable support for a decision because they assume that is the desire of others. The third component is the vocalization of group sentiment, which arose from inaccurate assumption or incorrect interpretation of the signals given by other members. The fourth component refers to the decision maker's reflection on the action taken, usually in the form of questions as follows: why did we do this? How can we justify our decisions to others? The fifth refers to the defeat of the group leader to poor decision making in order to avoid making similar decisions in the future. There are several factors that may indicate the presence of the Abilene paradox in the decision making process. The reason I'm bringing this up is because, as I said, with the fait accompli, when decisions are made before those that are affected can oppose it. Likewise, in this paradox which we live in, it may seem like everybody agrees on this woke agenda, but that's because dissenting voices can't be heard and people just assume that the rest of the group are okay with it. So I just want people to, speak their mind.
Yeah.
Or else we end up in the Abilene paradox.
Well said.
So if you can skip to not the next slide, but the 2 slides.
Yeah, let me just show this clip on the back of what you just said.
Attention, Axiom shoppers. Try blue. It's the new red.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. This one?
Yeah. So this pertains to we've been talking about. You showed in the movie The Color Purple. Often men are seen as the main perpetrator of domestic abuse and SA and all that. But in actuality, there are studies that show that women are equal, if not more, violent in many relationships. But male violence is seen as more bad than women violence when they do the same. And this is, the studies here are, well, you can see the name. It's from Strauss, 2007. I don't want to talk too much about it. I just want to point out that things are not always what it seems. Like there are double standards here.
Yeah.
And, there are many studies that show that women are more likely actually to be violent in relationships, especially in this century. But people have to research that for themselves. I can't. They need to see it for themselves. I can't convince anybody. So.
Yeah. Let me now this kind of reminded me. I wanted to say earlier, and it's funny that I have this thing scrolling on the back, on the bottom. Sorry, the thing scrolling where it says "Where is Christ" in that dichotomy. For a while now, I don't know how long. For a while, but a couple of years at least, I've been pushing this idea, or a couple of years give or take, that BRICS is taking over. And I keep talking about the Jewish West versus the pagan East, You know, they're both anti-Christian. I keep saying that. I'm starting to now to wonder if I've created my own dichotomy in my mind, or even slipped into this dichotomy that has been put forth already by them. You know, this East versus West thing. Maybe I'm off with that. I don't know, but I'm starting to. I've been second guessing that before this live stream. I've been reconsidering that, and I don't know, some food for thought. I need to maybe back off a little bit from that and give it some more consideration. Maybe that's just yet another dichotomy. Maybe they're all in cahoots, just like we saw with the G7. You even saw Japan in there. I mean, in essence, there's one common denominator, and that's that they're all anti-Christian. And that's true for East and West. So maybe this is a false dichotomy, East versus West. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been going on. I think I made my point clear here. There's no,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So I didn't want to share, because it's Women's International Day, I wanted to find this video. Maybe I'll find it if we have time. But yeah, let me go ahead and go to this. Let's see here. Share this tab. Okay. This right? No, this one. Yeah. So this is going to, really, I'm playing it a bit backwards, but that's all right. Whatever. This woman, just so you'll know, you guys might recognize, there's been some TV shows and movies, quote unquote comedian. And she's on stage. Well, just hear for yourself. Where am I at? Why can't I see? Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go.
Fuck you, Oprah Winfrey. Fuck you, Tyler Perry.
That's Tyler Perry. Another one that I want to do a live stream on. Maybe like, you know, great Gay Pride, whenever that is. Gay Pride Month Day. I don't know what it is. Parade. But yeah. So I've also have them, you know, in cahoots with each other, buddy, which should be no surprise to anybody. Her and Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, there's some things that I forgot to share, by the way. I'm glad I mentioned that. There's a couple more things I want to share, but should I do that now? Yeah, let me do that real quick before we go to the video, because we might get cut off. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Speaking of which, let me go ahead and I got to stop sharing here. 1,000 clicks. Let me do this. Sorry. I'm going to play this video again. Okay. All right. So yeah, this is just a reference to we mentioned before how, who was it? Was it Warner Brothers that got hacked? Disney? I can't even remember anymore. It's just information overload at this point. But anyway, so during the Oscars, Hulu was broadcasting it as a streaming service for the first time in history. It was the first time a streaming service did the Oscars, and it crashed. And so they're apologizing. It's just that I find it kind of interesting and gross that these two, which I've just done back-to-back live streams on, are here buddy. One looks like a freak from, you know, alternate universe, and the other one looks like Baphomet. Talk about penis envy here with the Oprah Winfrey. One's just trying to be a feminine freakazoid, and she's been like a man all her life. Speaking of penis envy, her character Fontaine, absolute penis envy. You know, walking around grabbing her crotch and all that. She's nonstop trying to be a man all her life, pretty much. Now she's like trying to wear this nice, let's say a nice dress, but obviously freakish alien thing, pushing the alien thing. But yeah, also Oprah, who's been the opposite, now trying to look like a man. Like, it's just, well, of course, with long hair, Baphomet. It's absolute upside downness. It's insane and nauseating. Oh, sorry, got you down there. All right, let's go to the next thing. What did I want to share? Oh, BRICS taking over. I just said I won't, but yeah, I, as a guilty pleasure, watch Texas Hold'em. I think it's a brilliant game, though I don't encourage it because it's full of degenerates. I kid you not, obviously. And what you usually see at feature tables, the feature table is a table where all the cameras are on. They have only one table. They'll have like a number of other tables, even up to hundreds in a big tournament, but they'll have only one feature table where all the cameras are on. And there they'll always have the Orientals, the Jews, the Arabs. They'll have some others, but generally that's who they're featuring, regardless of how many are in the field, how many are playing in that tournament. Whether it's 50, whether it's hundreds, if not thousands, they're always having this group of people, and they're always going on and on and on about how great they are, regardless. It's nauseating, and it's not a coincidence. I just needed to show this out without showing the video itself. Of course, you guys know what's going on in British schools and all that, but this Muslim kissing up on this kid, I mean, just imagine these Muslims being teachers to these children, bachabazi and all that stuff. I mean, the pedophilia and all that they're making excuses for.
Are you crazy? Or just plain stupid?
Stupid as stupid does, Mrs. Blue.
I guess.
Yeah. All right. And this one is a stream I did with Paul Seliff not too long ago. He, you know, I encourage you guys to check out his stuff, the Selifian Report. He's covering Sharia law line by line. It's really good stuff, in my opinion. It's not always entertaining. But it's talk about the crux. I mean, this stuff, the work that he's doing, completely demolishes Islam, because you can say whatever you want about the Quran, the Hadith, and the life of Muhammad, or, you know, tafsir, whatever you want to say about whatever. What matters is implementation. What matters is outcomes. What matters is what they're actually doing, and Sharia law defines what they're actually doing. And in it is things like mothers having or being encouraged, or it being halal for them to have sex with their handicapped children. Here we're seeing, okay, blah, 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 blah. And the husband is at least 9.5 years old. Pedophilia for Musliminas with little boys. And that's okay. Yeah, those are just a few things that I wanted to share. And there was a clip, but I don't think I'll have time to share that. Let me share just the one thing from Precious. We heard Monique and her nasty mouth blasting them out, which I found interesting because she is in the movie Precious, and that's why I showed that. And she's blasting out two people that are quite deplorable. All right, where is it at? Precious. Okay, here we go. Stage, full screen. All right. This one. Okay, here we go. Again, this is an award winner movie made by Oprah Winfrey over a decade ago.
Tell a man so stop ringing my bell.
It
I hate
was
crackheads.
in the mid to late.
No one ever ring this bell except for crackheads. Why are you fucking with us?
So that's her narrating. This fat young character, this lady, she's narrating. So that's her thoughts.
Get her a bad name.
Stop bringing the goddamn buzzer. Stop it! Stop it!
Press listen, stupid.
So isn't this already portraying what you were describing earlier about the parents with the complex projecting on their children, creating it in their children, and creating this model of empathy in the process too, or sympathy?
Very, very well known phenomenon in psychology.
All right, I'm going to keep torturing us if you don't mind. Keep playing us.
It's Sandra Lichtenstein for Clarice and Ms. Mary Johnston.
Lichtenstein. All right. Okay.
Who is that, Precious? White bitch from school.
She said, "White bitch from school." So this again, I've taught in the public school system. I've taught in a non-traditional school, which they mentioned, but also the worst of that population. Basically, this was a school where all the regional schools who had students that were kicked out, but they didn't want to put them on the street, they sent them to this school to keep them off the streets. So it was like the worst of students in the entire region. And of that population, I also worked with the worst population of them. Anyways, let me tell you, it's exactly like this. It's exactly like this, and terminally so. Just like you. Anyways, let me keep going.
What you want?
Clarice, I want to talk to you about your education.
My mother don't want to get cut off welfare, and that's just what this visit will result in. Miss Lichtenstein, get out of here before I kick your ass.
All right, Clarice, I spoke to Mr. Wicker, and he told me that you're one of his best math students.
If your fat ass don't get that bitch away from me.
Like a potential.
Okay, I mean, again, and this is this is no exaggeration. I know that black people hate this portrayal, but this is what I've experienced. I went into the school system, the public school system, getting trained and being taught by black people to stop being such a libtard. I got ripped into, chastised for defending, saying, hey, you know what, this is stereotypical, blah, blah, blah. This is not okay. And they were laughing in my face and got mad because I was being persistent. They got mad at me, and rightfully so. Basically telling me, stupid white boy, you're going to have to learn the hard way. They want to kill you just because you're white. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do for them, what good you're trying to do, they want you dead. And yeah, I lived that.
Potential for math. So I called Mrs. McKnight from Higher Education Alternative. Each one, teach one. An alternative school. Clarice, are you listening to me?
Yeah, and this movie made Each One Teach One really popular. And it's interesting that they chose the character's name as Stein as the heroine in this movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. McKnight, each one teach one. It's located at the 11th floor, Hotel Teresa, 125th Street.
Get
Semester started a few days ago.
that bitch.
11th floor.
I heard you the first time.
Okay.
I don't know what an alternative school is. I feel I want to know. My heart is all warm inside. Mr. Witcher think I'm a good student. I knew he liked me.
And we're getting to the crux of the problem here. It's not systemic. If anything, the privileges go on and on. It's not patriarchy, because if anything, the men have provided and done right for centuries upon centuries upon centuries, despite what mass media propagates. It's, well, a deviation from Christ, getting away from God, and therefore parenting is bad. And yeah, I mean, the children are crap, consequently. Sorry, I'm just I'm running out of steam here. Let me just finish this video clip here.
School ain't gonna help nothing. Take your ass down to the welfare. The fuck she thinks she is? The fuck she thinks? Your ass down to the welfare. Take your ass. School ain't gonna help none.
School ain't gonna help none. That is the attitude. I mean, this is no exaggeration, people. It's painful. It sounds horrible, but this is the reality. And this is not, again, for the record, this is not for all blacks. And I'm not going to go on with labels like inner city and all that. No, they're all over. It's the racist blacks that are just brought up the wrong way because they are without God.
Take your ass down to the welfare. The fuck she thinks she is? So I guess you think you're cute now, right? Oh, ugly bitch. You should have kept your fucking mouth shut. Just because he's going to give you more children than he gives me, you think you something fucking special? Fuck you and fuck him.
And now she's alluding to something that's revealed later in the movie. Spoiler alert. I don't know if you want to watch this or not, but it's talking about the molestation thing and how, you know, her husband had sexual affairs with her daughter. We find out at the very end of the movie, not only was she aware of that, while it was happening, she actually encouraged it. I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole, but that's a reality too. So people hate this movie all around. But Oprah, to me, did a big by portraying a reality nobody else will. Having a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah, give credit where credit is due.
Amen. Yeah. I like to make excuses because I've been trashing her all this entire stream. I'll just say a broken clock is correct twice a day, which is tacky. I shouldn't even say that because I mean now I'm just doing a disservice here with this part. I think this movie's good. I know a lot of blacks would disagree, but again, this conversation needs to be had. And again, for the record, please don't think, and they're right for being upset because unfortunately, this kind of stuff, and it's actually in this movie where she's basically this character. I mean, is basically and blacks like this. They're creating this environment, this culture of degradation. So, well, yeah, I mean, but it's even beyond that. Like it's not. I mean that too, yeah, absolutely that too. But I'm saying that they're self-destructive all on every level, and so yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I'm kind of I've lost fuel. I even lost my train of thought in the middle of that. My apologies. Let me just keep playing it. We'll call it quits in a minute here.
Precious! Precious! Get down here, bitch! You want that white bitch up in my house? Why did you bring that bitch up in here? I'm bringing you. Well, why the fuck did you bring my buzzer? I can't hear you, Precious. Since you got so much motherfucking mouth and you gonna bring a bitch up in my house, why would that bitch ring my goddamn buzzer? I ain't telling her to come here. See, I think right now you feeling like you becoming a grown woman. Because that shit you poured in the kitchen, I should have fucked you up. But I let you walk away and I let you come get yourself together. But bitch, I'm gonna let you know if you ever pour that shit on me again, that will be your last motherfucking day standing. I promise you that. You gonna send a white bitch to my motherfucking buzzer? Talking about some higher education. You're a dummy, bitch. You will never know shit. Don't nobody want you. Don't nobody need you. You done fucked around and fucked my motherfucking man and had 2 motherfucking children. And one of them is a goddamn animal running around looking crazy as a motherfucker. Bitch, you know what? See, I think you trying me. I think you really trying to fuck with me. You fucking with my money. And you.
There's a victimhood you talk about. And that whole line is really heartbreaking. Partly because it's so real. All right, I'm going to end it there. I think that's all I can handle myself. All right. So, I mean, I like to end things, well, I like to bring it back to Christ if I can. I mean, we've had a pretty taxing session here, going over 3.5 hours, close to 4 hours here. It's been really, I mean, when I'm tired, I'm going, I don't know how many hours right now. Whew, nearly almost, I'm approaching 20-hour day here. But, yeah, but just this whole, the thing they shared, that document, the last one, just, yeah, it's just, it's difficult with the banker,
Yeah, this isn't about race or gender. Like, it may sound like that, but in reality, what I'm wishing is just to point out that there are, as I said, principalities that we are fighting against, not flesh and blood. And we should really, really look out for, in the near future, I believe, that they will be trying to really ramp up this attack on children now. That's the next thing. First, it was the women, and now I believe the children are next in the coming years.
Oh, sorry, I got my mic off. Yes, yeah, exactly. Thank you for saying that. Perfect. Yeah, exactly. Again, the dichotomies. It's all a red herring. It's all a fabrication to get us, as you pointed out with the Bible quote, to get us hating each other. And unfortunately, even the faithful, some of the faithful will be deceived too, and we see a lot of that too, unfortunately. All right, I'm just a little silly. I mean, forgive me. I just can't help myself. It's a matter of, well, I mentioned it, and now I've got to do it. So let me just share this clip here. Which one should I share? Deco, Selmer Ace. Let's do Deco. Or just play. Here, let's do this one. Okay. Uh-oh. I think I'm freezing up again. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Commercial. Okay. 1,000 clicks. Remove this. Remove that. Remove everything. Remove. What is this? Stop screen. Okay. Oh, okay. Hold on. Here we go. Now we're cooking. All right. So this is from As Good as It Gets. I think this is the 90s movie, mid-90s. It's actually one of my favorites. It talks about OCD, but it also promotes homosexuality, all this gender stuff, and so on and so forth. So I'll have to rewatch it again. I'm sure I would hate it if I watched it again. But anyway, without further ado, basically, the main character is a writer who's got OCD. And it kind of goes through his life, and then there's a single mom involved, and blah, blah, blah. But right now, he's at his publisher's, and this is a secretary stopping him on his way out from the publisher. She works for the publisher. So this is a young secretary addressing the main character, a writer, who's got OCD, and it was, let's watch.
I can't resist. You usually move through here so quickly, and I just have so many questions I want to ask you. You have no idea what your work means to me.
What does it mean to you?
But somebody out there knows what it's like to be in here.
Sorry. That's great. I needed that. But hold on, that's not it. That's just funny itself. All right, keep going.
Oh God, this is like a nightmare.
Oh, come on, just a couple of questions. How hard is that? How do you write women so well?
I think of a man, and I take away reason and accountability.
Yeah, that about sums it up. I mean, I really killed the mood there with that, but I couldn't help myself. But I think let me just say this, if I can backtrack a little bit. Again, the woman is the backbone of the family unit. Once that family has been destroyed, not a nuclear family, it's not atomic, but a traditional family, a traditional Christian family. Once that's been destroyed, then a woman is no longer a woman. The children are rebellious, sinister, heathens, and a man is lost. And that's what we have today. We need to get back to that stat. I mean, those of you that are able to have children, and let's keep that real. I mean, please, by all means, stay centered in God. Do what you got to do. Have that family. We need to continue if that's to be. And if it's not to be, I mean, we're all going to, God willing, get swept up anyway. So either way. But yeah, just do what you got to do. Stay centered in God. Stay away from these dichotomies. Please forgive me for that clip. I couldn't help myself. One I shared earlier, at a different point. But that's all I got for you guys. I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty spent. What about you? Do you have any closing thoughts, or have you already shared those with us?
Maybe you should do a little prayer. What do you think?
Value prayer? Is that what you said?
Maybe we should share a prayer.
Oh, say a prayer. Oh, Yves, I'm a little spent. If you feel inspired, go for it.
Okay. Dear Lord, thank you for the day we've been blessed with. May you provide us the wisdom to carry us on your path and lead us on the straight path. Thank you for the example that you have set for us. Give us the strength and courage to keep us from the enemy and their snares. May you forgive our enemies and God save us. Amen.
Amen. Yeah, Daniel, what can I say, man? I can't thank you enough, not only for being here and all the work that you did, and I greatly appreciate it. I seriously cannot thank you enough. The enlightenment, the things that you shared today, your encouragement, all the support you give. But even reminding me and putting this in perspective to do the stream today, it was really powerful stuff. I'm grateful for it, and I can't thank you enough for it.
Yeah,
God bless you.
This isn't something This isn't something I want to do or I feel comfortable with, but it's something that I feel I need to do. And you provide the platform, and I just hope that we reach, the lost sheep. There's a lot of people that haven't yet. They need to hear it, I believe. And even if we are wrong, we're not perfect. But I think this discussion needs to be made because I feel, especially here in Europe, that they are progressively, hindering our freedom of speech. And I actually fear the future when it comes to that. I think it's too late well, that's a little pessimistic, perhaps. But yeah, I don't want to feel tomorrow that I could be doing more yesterday. That's all. I want to thank you for, you've been doing this for quite a while, I've seen. And God bless you for that, for keeping up and enduring, because that's you're not a fake one. You're a real dude, man.
A real dude, thank you. That's the great. Probably that's. I gotta say, that's probably the greatest compliment you gave me. You're a real dude. I'm not kidding. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, man. God bless you. Sorry.
Yeah. No, continue.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, I got to come in with this.
Well, isn't that special?
Also, one more. A little words of wisdom for from our buddy Joe Dirt.
No, man, but you got to keep going. What am I going to do? Quit? That's not an option. You got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden. Dig it. You make it work for you. You never give up, man. That's my philosophy. You hear that in there?
That's right. Blessed are those who endure to the end. Thanks again, Daniel. God bless you, and God bless everyone out there. Remember, nous and koinonia. Keep your news centered on Christ, and take care of each other. God bless you all, and I'll see you in the next one. If not Wednesday, a week from now, Saturday, the Ides of March, we'll have an ex-Muslim giving his testimony.
Amen. Goodbye.
And to think that this was the cause of it all.